श्रीमती निर्मला सीतारमण जी, नए दशक का पहला आम बजट में मैं आप सबका अभिनंदन करता हूं, स्वागत करता हूं।
Sir, I rise with your permission to present a statement of the estimated receipts and expenditure of the Government of India for the year 2020-2021.
दो हजार 2021 के लिए भारत सरकार के अनुवादित भारतीय और वे विवरण प्रस्तुत करेंगी निर्मला सीतारमण जी।
I rise to present the budget for the year 2020-2021. Sir, in May 2019, Prime Minister Modi received a massive mandate to form the government again. With renewed vigor, under his leadership, we commit ourselves to serve the people of India with all humility and dedication. People of India have unequivocally given their Janadesh for not just political stability and also reposed faith in our economic policy. This is the budget to boost their incomes and enhance their purchasing power. Only through higher growth we can achieve that and have our youth gainfully and meaningfully employed. Let our businesses be innovative, healthy, and solvent with use of technology. For today's youth, born at the turn of the century, for every member of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes who seek a better life, for every woman wishing to stand up and get counted, for every individual from the minority sections of our society, this budget aims to give and have your aspirations and hopes addressed. We wish to open up vistas for a vibrant and dynamic economy with a gentle breeze of new technology. This vibrant India shall be a caring society which shall attend to its weak, the old, and the vulnerables among its citizens. During 2014-19, our government brought in a paradigm shift in governance. This shift was characterized by a twin focus: fundamental structural reform and inclusive growth. Fundamentals of the economy are strong, and that has ensured macroeconomic stability. Inflation has been well contained. Banks saw a thorough cleaning up of accumulated loans of the past decade, and then they were recapitalized. Companies were provided an exit through the IBC. Several steps on the formalization of the economy were taken up. Of the structural reforms, the Goods and Services Tax, the GST, has been the most historic in our country. Its chief architect is not with us today. I pay homage to the visionary leader, late Sri Arun Jaitley. At the time of rollout of GST, he had said, and I quote, It will be an India where the center and states will work harmoniously towards the common goal of shared prosperity. The unanimity of the constitutional amendment and the consensus of the GST Council highlights that India can rise above narrow politics for the nation's interest. With the GST, neither the state nor the center loses its sovereignty. In contrast, they will pool their sovereignty on decisions on indirect taxes, unquote. True to this vision for the historic structural reform, the goods and services tax has been gradually maturing into a tax that has integrated the country economically. It has consolidated numerous taxes and cesses to one tax and facilitated formalization of the economy. It has resulted in the efficiency gains in logistic and transport sectors. The turnaround time for trucks has witnessed a substantial reduction to the tune of 20% due to abolition of checkposts in the GST. The dreaded Inspector Raj has also vanished. It has also led to a significant benefits to MSME by way of enhanced threshold and composition limit. The effective tax incidence on almost every commodity came down substantially. Through several rate reductions, an annual benefit of 1 lakh crore rupees has been extended to consumers. It amounts to 10% reduction in overall tax incidence. An average household now saves about 4% of its monthly spends on account of reduced GST rates. During this phase of maturing, GST did face certain challenges. This was natural, as transition was daunting. GST Council has been proactive in resolving issues during the transition. In the last 2 years, we have added more than 60 lakh new taxpayers. A total of about 40 crore returns were filed. 800 crore invoices were uploaded and 105 crore e-way bills were generated. There has been extensive engagement with stakeholders. A simplified new return system is being introduced from 1st April 2020. A former Prime Minister had once voiced a concern that the fruits of the welfare schemes were not reaching the intended citizens. The common and deserving citizen was only receiving 15 paise of every rupee sent to him. Guided by Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, our government and our Prime Minister added manifold speed and scaled up the implementation of schemes and programs that directly benefited the poor and the disadvantaged. I wish to list out only a few as examples. 1. Welfare schemes with direct benefit transfer embedded in them. 2. Sanitation and water as provision of basic needs and as a measure of preventive health care. 3. Healthcare through Ayushman Bharat. Clean energy through Ujjwala and solar power. 4th. 5th. Financial inclusion, credit support, insurance protection to vulnerable sections and pension scheme. 5th. Digital
इंश्योरेंस और पेंशन स्कीम का जिक्र करती हुई निर्मला सीतारमण ब्रॉडबैंड और यूपीआई और कैसे आवास योजना के जरिए गरीबों को घर मिले इसकी कोशिश। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय जो मापदंड है उनसे मिलते जुलते हमने ये काम किया है, ये उपलब्धि हासिल की है। कुछ ही लोगों को हमेशा फायदा हो ये सरकार ने देखा और उसके निवारण के लिए हमने काम किया। 4% 1950 में ग्रोथ रेट, We clocked a growth of 7.4%. 14-15 में 7.4% ग्रोथ रेट रखा।
It is worthwhile to note that inflation was close to 9%.
महंगाई दर 9% के करीब थी। तो जीएसटी को लागू करना सरकार का ऐतिहासिक फैसला बताती हुई वित्त मंत्री निर्मला सीतारमण आवाज गई थी, आगे सुनिए।
271 million people out of poverty, which we all should be proud of.
271 मिलियन लोगों को हमने गरीबी रेखा से बाहर किया है।
Of the world. India's foreign direct investment got elevated to the level of $284 billion during 2014 and 19 from $190 billion that came in during the years 2009 to 14.
2009-14 के मुकाबले एफडीआई में हमने जबरदस्त इजाफा किया है।
Our economy got reduced in March 2019 to 48.7% of GDP from a level of 52.2% in March 2014. Just between 14 and 19, I recall this figure, the central government's debt in March 2019 has come down to 48.7% of the GDP.
48.7% जीडीपी का अब वित्तीय घाटा पहुंच गया है।
March 2014. With this backdrop, our government shall work towards taking the country forward so that we can leapfrog to the next level of health, prosperity and well-being. We shall strive to bring ease of living to every citizen.
ईज ऑफ लिविंग का जिक्र करते हुए यानी जीने के साधन आसान हो, इसका जिक्र करती हुई सरकार
cross-cutting developments. One, proliferation of technologies, especially analytics, machine learning, robotics, bioinformatics and artificial intelligence, and also
एनालिटिक्स, टेक्नोलॉजी का इस्तेमाल, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, रोबोटिक्स, इन चीजों पर सरकार का ध्यान रहेगा।
being at its highest. So these are the two cross-cutting streams, keeping in the backdrop while we are talking about the budget today. This combination is special to contemporary India. Across the world, if there is a shrinking of globalization, equally there is a debate on the efficacy of
ग्लोबलाइजेशन के बीच देश को दोनों ही इन मुद्दों पर आगे ले जाया जाए, इस पर सरकार काम कर रही है।
And the energy, the enthusiasm and the innovation of our youth are the ignition required to push forward.
युवाओं के जरिए कैसे नई सोच को बढ़ाया जाए, इस पर सरकार का ध्यान है।
Which weathered several storms over the centuries, inspire and motivate us. We recognize the need to support and further energize the spirit. This budget is woven around three prominent themes.
तीन मुख्य बिंदुओं पर यह बजट आगे बनाया गया है।
Aspirational India.
एक एस्पिरेशनल इंडिया, जिसकी उम्मीदें हैं, जिसके ख्वाब हैं, कैसे बेहतर जीने का स्तर किया जाए, शिक्षा, बेहतर नौकरी। दूसरा, आर्थिक विकास,
Prime Minister's exhortation of सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास।
सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास वाली नियत पर ही आर्थिक विकास आगे ले जाया जाएगा।
Simultaneously, it would mean yielding more space for the private sector.
इसके साथ ही ये भी तय है कि हमें ज्यादा जगह प्राइवेट सेक्टर को देना है, निजी क्षेत्र को देना है। और तीसरा, हम एक ऐसा समाज बनाएं जो हर किसी को आगे ले जाए। अंत्योदय स्कीम का जिक्र करती हुई इन तीन बिंदुओं पर, जिसमें हिंदुस्तान की महत्वाकांक्षा और समाज को कैसे बेहतर बनाए।
seamless delivery of services through digital governance.
डिजिटल गवर्नेंस यानी कैसे डिजिटल ट्रांसफर हो पैसे का, इस पर सरकार और भी काम करेगी।
Risk mitigation through disaster resilience, social security through pension and
सामाजिक सुरक्षा, पेंशन, इंश्योरेंस के जरिए कैसे पहुंचाया जाए। ये तमाम पहल और इनके अलग अलग हिस्से आने वाले वक्त में अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मापदंडों का ख्याल करके हम आगे बढ़ेंगे और इनकी घोषणा भी की जाएगी।
Before I move to elaborate on each of these three themes,
इससे पहले कि मैं आगे बढ़ूं और हर बिंदु पर अपनी बात कहूं,
small verse in Kashmiri.
कश्मीरी में एक कविता सुना रही हैं निर्मला सीतारमण।
सोन वतन गुलजार शालीमार ह्यूं, सोन वतन गुलजार शालीमार ह्यूं, दलमन फोलवून पंपोश ह्यूं, नवजवान अन हुंद भूषण खुमार ह्यूं, म्योन वतन च्योन वतन सोन वतन नुंदबोनी वतन। I'll read this in Hindi, not as a poem, but for the meaning. हमारा वतन खिलते हुए शालीमार बाग जैसे, हमारा वतन खिलते हुए शालीमार बाग जैसे, हमारा वतन डल लेक में खिलते हुए कमल जैसा, नौजवानों के गरम खून जैसा, नौजवानों के गरम खून जैसा। मेरा वतन तेरा वतन, हमारा वतन दुनिया का सबसे प्यारा वतन। It is everything that we do here,
हम देश में जो भी करते हैं,
we speak through the budget,
हम बजट के जरिए जो भी बोलेंगे,
through and everything that this government does with the guidance
सरकार
and
जो भी
leadership
करती
of the
है
Prime Minister,
प्रधानमंत्री के नेतृत्व में, वो इस प्यारे वतन के लिए है।
This poem I must mention
इस
is a
कविता
poem
को मैं
written by पंडित दीनानाथ कौल,
पंडित दीनानाथ कौल ने इस कविता को लिखा था।
Honorable Speaker, sir, I now move to the first of my theme, which is the aspirational India.
Aspirational India.
I shall cover programs and plans related to agriculture, irrigation, and rural development. That's my first under the aspirational India theme.
Rural development पर चर्चा करूंगी। ग्रामीण विकास.
Water and sanitation. That's the second under aspirational India. And the third is education and skills.
पहले जल वितरण
I move to talking
और फिर
about agriculture, irrigation, and rural development. Our government is committed to the goal of doubling farmers' income
हमारी सरकार
by 2022.
किसानों के आय को
We have provided energy
2020 तक
through kusum
दोगुनी करने पर
and input
कटिबद्ध है।
sovereignty through परंपरागत कृषि विकास योजना.
परंपरागत कृषि विकास योजना के अलावा
6.11 crore farmers insured under
6.11 करोड़ किसानों के लिए हमने किसान
focus on cultivation of pulses,
बीमा योजना के तहत
expansion of micro
उपलब्धि कराई है
irrigation
पैसे
through कृषि
की
सिंचाई योजना,
सिंचाई
have
योजना
raised
के
the
जरिए
self-reliance of the country. Provision of any annual supplement of the income to the provision of annual supplement of income to the farmer directly is done through PM Kisan. Connectivity through PM GSY, Gram Sadak
पीएम
Yojana,
किसान योजना के जरिए
financial inclusion,
हम सालाना
and trace
वित्तीय सहायता
farm
देते हैं
income.
सीधा किसानों को।
Prosperity to farmers can be ensured by making farm and farming competitive. For this,
प्रतिस्पर्धा किसानों में लाकर ही हम यहाँ पर वृद्धि कर सकते हैं, उन्नति कर सकते हैं।
Markets need to be removed. Purchase of farm produce, logistics, agri-services need copious investments. Substantial support and hand-holding of farm-based activities such as livestock, apiary, and fisheries need to be provided for. Farmers desire
पशुपालन, मछली पालन पर भी ध्यान देने की जरूरत है।
Financing and processing and marketing. Adopting sustainable cropping patterns and bringing in more technology are integral to our plan. All this and more can be achieved through working with and in cooperation with the states. The following 16 action points indicate our
16 एक्शन प्लान बनाया है किसानों के लिए और पशुपालन के विकास के लिए।
governments who undertake implementation of following model laws already issued by the central government. My first of the action points,
पहला एक्शन प्लान
16 action points, but the first one is to encourage those state governments who undertake implementation of following model laws which are already passed and issued by the central government.
जो मॉडल कानून पास किए गए हैं, जो राज्य इसको कार्यान्वित करेंगे, उनको हम उत्साहित करेंगे।
Model Agricultural Produce and Livestock Marketing Act of 2017, Model Agricultural Produce and Livestock Contract Farming and Services Promotion and Facilitation Act of 2018. So 3 model agriculture related laws we would like state governments
3 जो कृषि के मॉडल लॉज हैं, जो राज्य उसका पालन करेंगे, कार्यान्वित करेंगे, उन्हें हम प्रोत्साहन देंगे।
Water stress related issues are now
पानी की कमी
concern across the country.
सबसे बड़ी चिंता है।
Our government is proposing comprehensive measures for 100 water stressed districts. Our government is
100 जिलों तक हम ये
comprehensive measures
काम कर रहे हैं
for 100 water stressed districts. Third of the 16, in the budget speech of July 2019, I had stated that Annadata can be Urja Data also.
अन्नदाता ऊर्जा दाता भी हो सकता है।
Removed farmers' dependence on diesel and kerosene and linked pump sets to solar energy.
डीजल केरोसिन से जो निर्भरता है वो खत्म करके सौर ऊर्जा की तरफ भी बढ़ने का कदम है।
Standalone solar pumps.
सोलर पंप भी लगाए जा रहे हैं।
Further, we shall also help another 15 lakh farmers.
हम 16 लाख किसानों को इसमें भी सहायता करेंगे कि वो अपने ग्रिड को जो सौर ऊर्जा है उन सेट्स को कनेक्ट करें।
Solar power generation capacity on their fallow and barren lands and to sell it to grid.
जहां भी खेती नहीं हो सकती ऐसी जगहों पर बंजर जमीन पर सौर ऊर्जा उत्पादन के लिए कदम उठाए जाएंगे।
We are saying that farmers, if they have fallow or barren lands, now will be helped to set up solar power generation units.
बंजर जमीन अगर किसान के पास है तो सौर ऊर्जा के लिए यूनिट वहां पर सेटअप करने में सरकार मदद करेगी।
Solar power to the grid and through the grid, having given the power solar power from their barren land,
सौर ऊर्जा ग्रिड को जाएगा और तमाम किसानों तक पहुंचेगा।
Fourth of the 16, our government shall encourage balanced use of all kinds of fertilizers, including the traditional organic and
सभी फर्टिलाइजर के
innovative fertilizers.
सही इस्तेमाल पर ध्यान
This
देंगे।
is necessary step to change the prevailing incentive regime which encourages excessive use of chemical fertilizers. So this is an important point. I'd like to repeat
जो
it.
रासायनिक फर्टिलाइजर है, केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर, उसके सीमित इस्तेमाल पर सरकार का फोकस होगा।
Which encourages excessive use of chemical fertilizers. Honorable Speaker, sir, in Tamil Nadu, there was a very wise old woman saint poet who lived more than 3,000 years ago. And she had used every letter of the Tamil alphabet to teach children moral stories. Not stories, moral lines. Each line was only 3 worded ones. They were very simple ones. They're called Aati Chudi, written by Avayar. Whilst talking about effective use of land, taking care of your land, removing weeds, and making sure you tend to it properly, she had just used 3 words in a little sentence, which says it all. And that's exactly what our Prime Minister is aiming to achieve, so that the farmlands are used with proper manure, not excessive manure, and limited water to grow their grains. Bhumi Tirutti Un is the line from Attichudi, which was said by a saint poet, a woman called Avayar.
तमिलनाडु की अवैया ने कहा था, सिर्फ 3 शब्दों में वो नैतिक कहानियां सुनाती थी।
Take care that you're not excessively leaving it and then trying to take a crop.
ज्यादा खाद, ज्यादा पानी नहीं, सही खाद, सही पानी
16 action points
का इस्तेमाल हो, ये उस
estimated capacity of
महिला ने कहा
162 million metric tons of agri warehousing, cold storage, reefer van facilities, and so on. NABARD will undertake an exercise to map and geotag them. In addition,
नाबार्ड की तरफ से जो अनजियोटैग्ड है उनको मैप करने की कोशिश होगी।
and regulatory authority WDRA norms. Our government will provide viability gap funding for setting up such efficient warehouses in the block or taluk level.
गैप फंडिंग होगी ताकि तालुक और ब्लॉक लेवल पर ऐसे स्टोरेज के लिए जगह बनाए जाएं।
Food Corporation of India and Central Warehousing Corporation shall undertake such warehouse building on their own.
ऐसे वेयरहाउस की बिल्डिंग FCI की तरफ से की जाएगी। सिक्स्थ एक्शन पॉइंट पर आती हूँ निर्मला सीतारमण।
A village storage scheme is proposed.
विलेज स्टोरेज स्कीम
to be run by
किया जाएगा।
This will provide farmers a good holding capacity and reduce their logistics cost.
होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी किसान को मिलेगा।
Can avail of Mudra or NABARD assistance and regain their position as Dhanya Lakshmi. We've heard of Dhana Lakshmi often, and many of us are familiar with Dhanya Lakshmi, and I'm sure many of us do recall the
दान
days
लक्ष्मी
when
जहां
women in the
पर किसान
villages
अपने
were the ones who kept the
उपज
seed
को
for the entire village, and they
सुरक्षित
would
रख पाएगा।
distribute seeds as and when a farmer required it. So we would like to restore women SHG groups to play that role or at the village level as Dhanya Lakshmis being assisted by
महिलाओं के
Mudra
सेल्फ हेल्प
and
ग्रुप
being assisted
जो कि
by NABARD.
दान लक्ष्मी के तौर पर काम करेंगे।
To build a seamless
महिलाओं के
national
सेल्फ हेल्प
cold
ग्रुप
supply chain
प्रोत्साहित करेगी
for
सरकार।
perishables inclusive of milk, meat and fish.
जो
The
पेरिशेबल,
Indian
जो
Railways
खराब होने वाली
will
चीजें हैं
set
जिसमें
up a
दूध, मछली,
Kisan
सभी
Rail
चीजें हैं, उसके
through
लिए किसान
PPP
रिंग बनाएंगे।
arrangements. There shall be a refrigerated coaches in express and freight trains as well, so that perishable goods can be quickly,
जो पेरिशेबल, जो
easily
खराब होने
within
वाले
the
पदार्थ
country
हैं उनको ऐसे
transported.
रेफ्रिजरेटेड
And
स्टोरेज में रखा
benefit
जाएगा।
will accrue to
इसका
the
इंतजाम सरकार करेगी,
Krishi
किसान को एक्सेस
Udan
होगा।
will be launched by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, not just trains. Krishi
सिर्फ
Udan
ट्रेन
will
नहीं,
be launched
कृषि
by the
उड़ान
Ministry
भी
of Civil
नागरिक
Aviation
उड्डयन मंत्री के
on
द्वारा
international and
शुरू किया
national
जाएगा।
routes.
राष्ट्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय रूट्स पर
This will
किसान
immensely help improve
उड़ान।
value realization, especially in northeast and in the tribal districts.
ताकि जो ट्राइबल एरिया है, नॉर्थ ईस्ट के क्षेत्र हैं, वहां से किसान उड़ान भर के न सिर्फ देश के अंदर बल्कि विदेशों में भी पहुंच सके।
Point number 9 of the 16th, horticulture sector
नौ
with its current
नंबर का
produce.
पॉइंट
It's a
हॉर्टिकल्चर।
very important point, sir. Horticulture sector with its current produce of 311 million metric ton exceeds the production of food grains.
311 मिलियन टन
Horticulture
जो हॉर्टिकल्चर का
exceeds the
उत्पादन
production
है
of food grains.
वो
For better marketing and export,
अनाज
we
से
propose
कहीं ज्यादा है।
supporting states
उसका बेहतर निर्यात
which
कैसे करें?
adopting a cluster basis will focus on one product, one district.
एक प्रोडक्ट एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट पर हम फोकस करेंगे ताकि जिला के स्तर पर उस उत्पादन को लेकर पूरा फोकस किया जाए और फिर उसे गति दी जाए।
इंटीग्रेटेड फार्मिंग सिस्टम
भी ग्रामीण इलाकों में बढ़ाया जाएगा। मल्टी क्रॉप, एक बार में कई उत्पाद कैसे लगाए जाए।
Sir, I had mentioned in my July budget, zero budget natural farming.
Zero budget
that shall also be
natural
included
farming
in our activities.
भी हम इस बार
The portal
अपने काम
on
में शामिल
जैविक
करेंगे।
खेती, online national organic products market will also be strengthened. So the next point, the 11th, financing on negotiable warehousing receipts, ENWR, has already crossed more than 6,000 crores. Financing on negotiable warehousing receipts. This will be integrated with
financial warehousing receipt
national agriculture market, the electronics one.
को हम इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मार्केट, कृषि मार्केट के इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स हिस्से से जोड़ देंगे।
Non-banking finance companies and cooperatives
जो नॉन बैंकिंग फाइनेंस
are
कंपनीज
active
हैं
in the agriculture credit space.
वो
The NABARD
कृषि क्रेडिट स्पेस में
refinance
पहले से ही
scheme
काम कर रहे
will
हैं।
be further expanded.
हम उस पे और भी
Agricultural credit
उसका
target
विस्तार करेंगे।
for the year 2021 has been set at 15 lakh crores, 15 lakh
15 लाख करोड़ इसके लिए
agricultural
बजट
credit availability.
कृषि
All
क्रेडिट के
eligible
लिए अलग किया गया है।
beneficiaries of PM Kisan will be covered under the KCC, Kisan
इस
Credit
केसीसी
Card
में
Scheme.
किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड स्कीम में
13th of the 16th,
किसानों को कवर किया जाएगा
our
प्रधानमंत्री
government
कृषि
intends
योजना के
to
तहत।
eliminate foot and mouth disease,
फुट एंड माउथ डिजीज को हम खत्म करना चाहते हैं।
cattle, and also what is
पशुपालन
called
के लिए
the
ये कदम बताती निर्मला
PPR
सीतारमन।
in sheep, which is a French expression. Sorry for those who know French, I'll try to pronounce. Peste des petits ruminants. PPR in sheep and goat by 2025. So foot and mouth disease, brucellosis in cattle, and also PPR in sheep and goat by 2025.
पशुपालन क्षेत्र में जो ज्यादातर बीमारी है फुट एंड माउथ डिजीज, उन तमाम हम बीमारियों को दूर करेंगे।
Increased from the present 30% to 70%. Manrega would be dovetailed to develop fodder farms. Further, we shall facilitate doubling of milk processing capacity from 53.5 million metric tons to 108 million metric tons by 2025.
दूध प्रोसेसिंग पर बड़ा कदम
From 53.5 million
उसमें
metric
बढ़त
tons
का
of
ऐलान करती
milk to 108 million metric tons by 2025.
2025 तक का मापदंड रखती है।
Blue economy.
ब्लू
Our
इकोनॉमी
government proposes to put in place a framework for development, management and conservation of marine fishery resources.
ब्लू इकोनॉमी जिसमें
Youth in coastal areas benefit
जितने ही
through fish
तटीय इलाके
processing
हैं
and
वहां से
markets.
मछली
By 2022-23,
पालन,
I propose
उसकी
raising
मार्केटिंग,
fish
उसकी बिक्री
production to 200 lakh tons.
सब में इजाफा किया
Propose
जाए।
raising fish production to 200 lakh tons. Growing of algae,
200 लाख टन तक
seaweed
इसे किया
and
जाएगा।
cage
algae,
culture
seaweed,
will also be promoted.
इसको भी प्रोत्साहन देगी
So
सरकार।
this coming point is very important. Our government will involve youth in fishery extension work through 3,477 Sagar Mitras and
सागर मित्र
500 fish
का गठन
farmer
किया जाएगा
producer
जिसमें
organizations.
युवा और
We
जो
hope
मछली
the rural
पालन
youth,
करते हैं उनको
particularly
रोका
those
जाएगा।
who are in the
ग्रामीण
coastal
युवा
areas and
जो तटीय
inland
इलाकों में
fishing
हैं
areas will work
जहां
as
पर फिशिंग बहुत
Sagar
ज्यादा है,
Mitras and
वो
also
सागर मित्र बनाए जाएंगे और
form
सागर मित्र
500
फिर इन
fish farmer producer organization. You know
मछली
that we
किसानों
already
के साथ
have a
मिलकर
farmer
काम
producer
करेंगे।
organization which is FPO. Now we are expanding it to cover fish farmer producer organizations. 16th and the last action point.
16वां एक्शन
Under
प्लान
दीनदयाल अंत्योदय योजना,
दीनदयाल अंत्योदय योजना के तहत
alleviation of poverty,
गरीबी हटाने के लिए
58 lakh
58 लाख
have been mobilized. We shall
SHGs,
further expand
self help group
on SHGs in this
बढ़ाए गए
regard.
हैं। हम उसमें और भी इजाफा करेंगे,
Now,
सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स को और
for
भी
the fund
मजबूत
allocation.
बनाएंगे। अब फंड
For the
एलोकेशन की
16
बात,
different steps that I have announced, they are being
यानी
stated under two
पैसे का
broad
आवंटन।
categories.
दो बड़े
They
कैटेगरी
are
बनाए
being
गए हैं।
stated under two broad categories. For the sector comprising of agriculture, allied activities, irrigation
कृषि,
and rural development, an
सिंचाई,
allocation of
ग्रामीण विकास
2.83 lakh crores has
2.83
been made for 2020-21.
करोड़,
And it is divided, among other things, for agriculture, irrigation and
कृषि,
allied
सिंचाई
activities,
और साथ में जो
1.6 lakh
काम होते
crores.
हैं
For
1.6
rural
लाख
development
करोड़,
and panchayati raj,
ग्रामीण
1.23
विकास के
lakh
लिए
crores, both put
1.23
together,
लाख
it is
करोड़।
about 1.73 lakh, 2.8 lakh, 83 lakh crores, 2.83 lakh crores. Wellness and water and sanitation is the second under
Jal,
aspirational India. I said my three themes:
जल वितरण,
aspirational India, economic development and caring society. Under each, I state three which contain specific programs. Aspirational India, already I've mentioned about the rural development and so on. Now I talk of wellness, water and sanitation.
स्वास्थ्य
We have a holistic vision of healthcare
जल वितरण
that translates into wellness for citizens. Mission Indradhanush has been expanded to cover
मिशन
12
इंद्रधनुष
such
को बड़ा
diseases,
किया गया है
including 5
अलग-अलग
new
जिलों को
vaccines.
कवर करने के लिए।
Fit India movement is a vital part of fight against non-communicable diseases coming out of lifestyle issues.
जीने के तौर तरीके से होने वाले ढंग से होने वाले बीमारियों पर हम शिकंजा कस रहे हैं। सैनिटेशन के कई कार्यक्रम लॉन्च किए गए हैं।
That would reduce the disease burden on the poor. Presently, under PM Jan Arogya Yojana,
पीएम जन आरोग्य योजना के तहत 20,000 एम्पैनल्ड हॉस्पिटल रखे गए हैं जो आयुष्मान भारत में सहायता करते हैं। हमें और ऐसे अस्पतालों की जरूरत है जिन्हें हम पैनल करेंगे, एम्पैनल करेंगे टियर 2, टियर 3 सिटीज के लिए।
It is therefore proposed to set up a viability gap funding window.
वायबिलिटी फंडिंग गैप विंडो बनाया गया है ताकि पीपीटी मोड से जो महत्वाकांक्षी जिले हैं उन्हें 112 जिलों को हम शामिल करेंगे। जहां पर आयुष्मान एम्पैनल्ड अस्पताल नहीं है उन्हें हम प्राथमिकता देंगे। जहां पर आयुष्मान एम्पैनल्ड हॉस्पिटल नहीं है उन 112 जिलों में हम अभी फोकस करेंगे, प्राथमिकता देंगे ताकि आयुष्मान एम्पैनल्ड अस्पताल वहां पर हो। ये वहां पर लोगों को रोजगार के भी युवाओं को साधन देगा। पार्ट बी में मैं टैक्सेशन का जिक्र करूंगी, वो इससे जुड़ा होगा।
would be used to support this vital health infrastructure which will get built.
मेडिकल डिवाइसेस पर भी ऐलान है ताकि स्वास्थ्य के क्षेत्र में काफी बेहतरी हो।
आर्टिफिशियल
इंटेलिजेंस का इस्तेमाल होगा आयुष्मान स्कीम में।
मेडिकल फ्रेटर्निटी कैन टारगेट डिसीजेस विद एन अप्रोप्रिएटली डिजाइन्ड प्रिवेंटिव रेजीम,
जिससे हम बीमारी को रोकने मेहनत करेंगे। टीबी हारेगा, देश जीतेगा। कैसे बीमारियों पर पहले से ही नियंत्रण किया जाए, बीमारी को रोका जाए, इस पर सरकार का फोकस होगा।
To realize our commitment to end tuberculosis by 2025.
2025 तक टीबी का अंत हो जाएगा, ट्यूबरकुलोसिस का हम अंत करेंगे।
To all districts offering 2,000 medicines and 300 surgicals by 2024. I have provided for the health sector about 69,000 crores. That is inclusive of 6,400 crores for Prime Minister Jan Arogya Yojana.
PM Jan Arogya योजना में 69,000 करोड़ का ऐलान किया गया है। 69,000 करोड़।
To ODF plus, we know ODF is already there, launched successfully, sort of covered, saturation reached. But our government is committed to ODF plus. In order to sustain
ODF plus, open defecation free, ताकि खुले में कोई भी शौच ना करे, उस पर सरकार अभी भी प्रतिबद्ध है।
So our government is committed to ODF plus in order to sustain ODF behavior and to ensure
हम ODF plus पर काम कर रहे हैं ताकि खुले में शौच का जो एक व्यवहार आ रहा है वो हमेशा बना रहे। सॉलिड वेस्ट कलेक्शन को हम कैसे करें और उसके प्रोसेसिंग को, उसका इस्तेमाल कैसे करें, इस पर ध्यान रहेगा।
12,300 crores for this year 2020-21, aiming to provide piped water supply to all households.
पाइप पानी देश के हर घर पहुंचे।
Our government has approved 3.6 lakh crore for this mission.
3.6 लाख करोड़ इस मिशन के लिए सरकार ने पैसे का आवंटन किया है, जिसमें हर घर में पाइप से, हर घर नल से जल,
recharging existing sources, and will promote water harvesting and desalination. Cities over 1 million population will be encouraged to meet this objective during the current
कई शहरों में ऐसी कोशिश होगी। डिसैलिनेशन यानी नमक वाले पानी का कैसे ट्रीटमेंट हो, इन सब पर सरकार फोकस करेगी। वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग पर ध्यान होगा।
So I now move to the third under aspirational India, education and skills.
अब शिक्षा और कैसे स्किल डेवलपमेंट।
By 2030, India is
2030 तक
the largest working age population in the world.
भारत का सबसे ज्यादा वर्किंग एज पॉपुलेशन होगा, यानी जो नौकरी की उम्र के लोग होंगे वो सबसे ज्यादा भारत में होंगे।
Members of Parliament and other stakeholders about education policy. Over 2 lakh suggestions were also received. The new education
हमने लोगों से सुझाव लिए, 2 लाख सजेशंस हमें राज्यों से मिले हैं।
It is felt that our education system needs greater inflow of finance to attract
शिक्षा व्यवस्था में
teachers
और पैसा चाहिए
and build better
ताकि टीचर्स
Therefore, steps would be
नई
taken
सोच को
to
आगे
enable
बढ़ाएं।
sourcing external commercial borrowings and FDI so as to deliver higher quality education.
स्कूलिंग और बेहतर क्वालिटी का एजुकेशन हो, इसलिए एफडीआई की भी जरूरत है। ज्यादा पैसा है।
Sciences and technology stream need their employment opportunities improved. About 150 higher education institutions will start apprenticeship
उच्च शिक्षा के संस्था अप्रेंटिसशिप और डिप्लोमा वाले कोर्सेज शुरू करेंगे।
The government proposes
March
to start a program whereby urban local bodies across the country would provide internship opportunities to fresh
शहरी लोकल बॉडीज जो है
for a period up
वहाँ
to
पे
1 year.
इंटर्नशिप की सुविधा होगी। जो लोकल बॉडीज हैं
a lot of public work program and their manpower
वो सामाजिक कार्य में शामिल होते हैं। वहां पर 1 साल के लिए इंटर्नशिप की सुविधा दी जाएगी। ये एक बड़ा मौका होगा युवाओं को उस समाज से जुड़े हुए काम को समझने का। जो शहरी लोकल बॉडीज है वो ऐसे युवाओं को इंटर्न रखेंगे 1 साल के लिए।
So this is for a period of 1 year that we've opened
ये
up.
1 साल के लिए इंटर्नशिप हम देंगे लोकल बॉडीज में युवाओं को।
provide quality education to students of deprived section of the society as well as those who do not have access to higher education.
क्षेत्र के लोग हैं,
proposed to start a degree level
पिछड़े वर्ग के लोग हैं,
online
डिग्री लेवल
education program.
फुल लेवल जो डिग्री लेवल का कार्यक्रम भी ऑनलाइन अब शुरू किया जाएगा।
Within top 100 in the National Institutional Ranking Framework. Initially, only a few such institutions would be asked to offer such programs. Sir, India should also be a preferred destination for higher education.
हायर एजुकेशन के लिए भारत एक ऐसा देश बने जहां लोग आए। स्टडी इन इंडिया प्रोग्राम के तहत
SAT exam is proposed to be held in Asian and African countries. It shall be used for benchmarking foreign candidates.
एशियन और अफ्रीकन देशों में, एशिया और अफ्रीकी देशों में ऐसा एग्जाम किया जाएगा जिसके जरिए भारत में आकर लोग उच्च शिक्षा प्राप्त करेंगे। नेशनल पुलिस यूनिवर्सिटी, नेशनल फॉरेंसिक यूनिवर्सिटी भी हम प्रपोज कर रहे हैं ताकि विज्ञान, फोरेंसिक विज्ञान और साइबर फोरेंसिक्स के जरिए शिक्षा दी जा सके। डॉक्टर्स की बहुत कमी है देश में। क्वालिफाइड मेडिकल डॉक्टर्स की कमी है और जनरल प्रैक्टिशनर्स, स्पेशलिस्ट सबकी जरूरत है। इसकी पूर्ति करने के लिए हम एक मेडिकल कॉलेज एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट हॉस्पिटल में पीपीई मोड में शुरू करेंगे। डिस्ट्रिक्ट के अस्पताल में कैसे मेडिकल कॉलेज भी जोड़ा जाए, इसके लिए हम पहल करेंगे। जिला अस्पताल में मेडिकल यूनिवर्सिटी भी होगा जहां पर डॉक्टर्स बनेंगे और जिला स्तर पर अगर ये होगा तो डॉक्टर्स की जो कमी है उसकी आपूर्ति की जाएगी। उसके लिए भी हम फंडिंग करेंगे।
Imparts PG medical qualification.
PG medical qualification, diploma,
and fellow of national board,
fellow of national board. ये वो तमाम डिग्री है, डिप्लोमा है जो वहां दिए जाएंगे। जितने भी बड़े अस्पताल हैं वहां पे रेसिडेंट डॉक्टर्स के लिए ऐसे कोर्सेज के लिए सरकार प्रोत्साहन देगी। शिक्षकों के लिए, नर्सेस के लिए, पैरामेडिकल स्टाफ, इन सब के लिए बहुत बड़ी इस वक्त जरूरत है विश्व में। पैरामेडिकल स्टाफ भी, केयर गिवर्स भी, जो ध्यान रखते हैं। लेकिन कई बार जिस तरह का स्तर चाहिए वो नहीं होता है। उसके लिए हम एक अलग से कोर्स रखेंगे। मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ और स्किल डेवलपमेंट, प्रोफेशनल बॉडीज जो मेडिकल है उनके साथ मिलकर एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम शुरू करेंगे ताकि हम विश्व स्तर के ऐसे टीचर्स, नर्सेस, पैरामेडिकल स्टाफ, केयरटेकर्स सबको बना सके।
Proposes to provide about 99,300 crores for education sector in 2021.
99,000 crores इस शिक्षा क्षेत्र में हम दे रहे हैं। और
so I move to the second theme, economic development, aspirational India, economic development and caring society. I'm now talking on economic development.
आर्थिक विकास पर अब मैं बात कर रही हूँ।
Industry, commerce and investment are the ones which come first in our. So the most important thing as an introduction I'd like to say here, the guilds of Saraswati Sindhu civilization and the Harappan seals are remarkable. Saraswati Sindhu civilization is about
Harappan civilization,
4,000 before the Common Era. They belong, the seals in particular belong to 3,300 BCE, before the Common Era. Words from the Indus script, which are all hieroglyphs, have been deciphered. Words from those hieroglyphs have been deciphered. Interesting words which we need to know when we're talking about commerce and industry. Commerce and trade-related words show how India for a millennia has been a continuing civilization with rich skills in metallurgy, rich skills in trading and so on. Sreni is a word found in the Harappan seals, which means guild. Seti is a word found in the Harappan seals, which means wholesale merchant. Seti was a wholesale merchant in the Sindhu civilization, Saraswati Sindhu civilization. Poddar is an affair of metal into treasury. And also, India is a continuing maritime power in terms of commerce and industry. Sakara Khurmi is using word which shows blacksmithery and also
व्यापार में जो पौराणिक शब्द इस्तेमाल किए जाते थे उनका उल्लेख करती हुई निर्मला सीतारमण, जिस पर विपक्ष का ये बवाल हुआ है।
India's commerce, India's industry, India's trade in such materials which were all unique to India have existed and continues to exist over the millennia. So entrepreneurship has always been the strength of India. That's the point I wanted to explain. I'm sure many members already know it and therefore they are a bit restless. Entrepreneurship has always been the strength of India. Even today, young men and women have given up greener pastures elsewhere to contribute to India's growth. They are risk-taking and come up with disruptive solutions to festering challenges. Equally, established old industries are resetting themselves in a changing global domestic situation. Global and domestic situation. We recognize the knowledge, skills, and risk-taking capacities and capabilities of our youth. He is no longer a job seeker. He is a creator of jobs. Now we wish to create more opportunities and remove roadblocks from this path. I propose to set up an investment clearance cell that will provide end-to-end facilitation
निवेश क्लियरेंस सेल बनाया जाएगा। फ्री इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइजरी, निवेश को लेकर जितने भी सवाल होंगे, क्लियरेंसेस की जरूरत होगी, उन सबको राज्य स्तर पर भी शुरू किया जाएगा।
There is a case for maximizing the benefits of 3 separately developing economic activities. The upcoming economic corridors, revitalization of manufacturing activities, and technology and the demands for aspirational classes. We have to benefit from their convergence. Hence, it is proposed to develop 5 new such smart cities in collaboration with states and in PPP mode.
राज्यों के साथ मिलकर हम PPP मोड पर स्मार्ट सिटी बनाएंगे
that offer the best choices in terms of the aforementioned principles. India needs to manufacture networked products that will make it a part of global value chains. This in turn gets more investment and generates more employment for our youth. Electronics manufacturing industry,
इलेक्ट्रॉनिक उत्पादन इंडस्ट्री बहुत ही प्रतिस्पर्धा के साथ बढ़ती है।
The potential of this industry in job creation is immense. India needs to boost domestic manufacturing and attract large investments.
घरेलू उत्पादन और उसमें निवेश को बढ़ाना जरूरी है।
Scheme focused on encouraging manufacture of mobile phones,
मोबाइल फोन के उत्पादन पर, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक जितने सामान हैं, इन सब पर हमारा फोकस होगा।
The details will be announced sooner. With suitable
डिटेल अनाउंस करेंगे।
This scheme can be adapted for manufacturing of medical devices too. India, sir,
जो मेडिकल डिवाइस है उसमें भी इस्तेमाल होगा।
Technical textiles worth $16 billion every year. To reverse this trend and to position India as a global leader in technical textiles, a national technical textiles mission is proposed with a 4-year implementation period from 2020-21 to 23-24 at an estimated outlay of 1,480 crores. Honorable Speaker, sir,
सरस्वती सिंधु सभ्यता 4000 ईसा पूर्व की है और हमेशा कारोबार में अग्रणी रहा है भारत। प्रधानमंत्री का जिक्र करती हुई कि कैसे हम बेहतर क्वालिटी अचीव करें, जीरो डिफेक्ट, क्वालिटी इफेक्ट, वक्त तय करके जो मैंडेटरी स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं उनको कैसे किया जाए,
would be issuing quality standard order. So to achieve higher export credit disbursement, a new scheme, Nirvik, is being launched.
निर्विक नाम के नए स्कीम को ला रहे हैं।
For higher insurance cover,
ज्यादा इंश्योरेंस कवर मिलेगा।
Reduction in premium for small exporters and simplified procedure
छोटे
for
निर्यातक
claim
हैं,
settlements. It is proposed to digitally refund to exporters.
एंड टू एंड सहायता के लिए एक सिंगल विंडो सिस्टम बनेगा जो नए उद्यमियों की मदद करेगा।
Refund to exporters duties and taxes levied at the center, state and local levels, such as electricity duties, VAT, the VAT, on fuel used for transportation, which are not getting exempted or refunded under any other existing mechanism. This scheme for reversion of duties and taxes on exported products will be launched from this year itself. Honorable Speaker, it is the vision of our Prime Minister that each district should develop as an export hub.
हर जिले को निर्यात के हब के रूप में विकसित किया जाएगा।
And institutional mechanisms are being created in order that every district becomes an export hub. Government e-marketplace, GEM, is moving ahead for creating a unified procurement system in the country for providing a single platform for procurement of goods, services and works. It offers a great opportunity for medium and small and micro enterprises. 3.24 lakh vendors are already on this platform. It is proposed to take its turnover to 3 lakh crores. I propose to provide about 27,300 crores for development and promotion of industry and commerce for the year 2020-2021.
27,000 करोड़ का इसके लिए आवंटन किया गया है। घरेलू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बढ़ाने के लिए प्रयास किए जा रहे हैं। मोबाइल इलेक्ट्रॉनिक उपकरण बनाने के लिए विशेष सहायता दी जाएगी। ये सब कहती हुई निर्मला सीतारमण।
ऑनरेबल स्पीकर, in his Independence Day speech of 2019, the Prime Minister has highlighted that 100 lakh crores would be invested on infrastructure for the next 5 years.
100 लाख करोड़ प्रधानमंत्री ने अपने भाषण में कहा था इंडस्ट्री के विकास के लिए।
31st December 2019 of 103 lakh crore worth projects. It consists of more than 6,500 projects across sectors and are classified as per their size and stage of development. These new projects will include housing, safe drinking water, access to clean and affordable energy, health care for all, world-class educational institutions, modern railway stations, airports, bus terminals, metro, railway transportation, logistics and warehousing, irrigation projects, etc. The National Infrastructure Pipeline envisions improving the ease of living for each and every individual citizen in the country. It will also bring in generic and sectoral reforms in development, operation and maintenance of these infrastructure projects. A huge employment opportunity exists for India's youth in construction, operation and maintenance of infrastructure. National Skill Development Agency will give special thrust to infrastructure-focused skills and their development opportunities.
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ऑपरेशन, उसके मेंटेनेंस युवाओं के लिए रोजगार का एक बहुत बड़ा अवसर देगा।
प्रोग्राम वुड एक्टिवली इन्वॉल्व यंग इंजीनियर्स, मैनेजमेंट ग्रेजुएट्स एंड इकोनॉमिस्ट्स फ्रॉम आवर यूनिवर्सिटीज। इट इज ऑल्सो
इकोनॉमिस्ट, इंजीनियर्स सब इसमें शामिल होंगे।
एजेंसीज ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट,
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एजेंसीज जो सरकार के हैं वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा युवाओं को स्टार्टअप में शामिल करेंगे। वैल्यू एडेड सर्विस में उनका इस्तेमाल किया जाएगा। नेशनल लॉजिस्टिक्स पॉलिसी भी जल्द से जल्द हम निकालेंगे। ये बताएगा केंद्र सरकार, राज्य सरकार और की ऑपरेटर्स की क्या भूमिका होगी और ये सीधे फोकस करेंगे रोजगार पैदा करने के अवसरों पर। हाईवेज के विकास के साथ ही फोकस ये होगा 2,500 किलोमीटर एक्सेस हाईवेज बनाकर 9,000 किलोमीटर इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर, 2,000 किलोमीटर कोस्टल तटीय जो इलाके हैं वहां की सड़क, 2,000 किलोमीटर स्ट्रेटेजिक हाईवेज, दिल्ली मुंबई एक्सप्रेस हाईवे और 2 अन्य ऐसे पैकेज 2023 तक खत्म किए जाएंगे। चेन्नई बेंगलुरु एक्सप्रेसवे भी स्टार्ट होगा, शुरू हो जाएगा। तो इस पर फास्ट ट्रैक जो हम तरीका अपनाएंगे, इससे यहां पर बेहतर कॉमर्स की शुरुआत होगी और व्यापार बढ़ेगा।
12 lots of highway bundles of over 6,000 kilometers before 2024.
2024 के पहले कई हजार किलोमीटर रोड बनाए जाएंगे। भारतीय रेल महत्वपूर्ण काम करता है।
It has commissioned 550 Wi-Fi facilities in as many
550 वाईफाई सेंटर्स रेलवे स्टेशनों पर शुरू किए गए हैं। अनमैन्ड लेवल क्रॉसिंग्स को खत्म किया गया है जहां पर
27,000 kilometers
लोग न हो।
This will call obviously for optimization of costs. Railways have small operating surplus. About Indian Railways, there are 5 measures, among other things, that I wish to highlight.
5 बड़े कदम हम उठा रहे हैं।
A large solar-powered capacity, setting up
सौर ऊर्जा उत्पादन के लिए
power capacity alongside the rail tracks.
बड़ा कदम उठाया जा रहा है जो रेलवे ट्रैक के बगल में जो जमीन है, रेलवे ट्रैक के बगल में जो रेलवे की जमीन है, वहां पर सौर ऊर्जा उत्पादन के लिए पहल की जाएगी.
An operation of 150 passenger trains would be done through PPP mode. The
PPP मोड की यहाँ भी शुरुआत की जाएगी.
More Tejas type trains, more Tejas type trains will
तेजस ट्रेनों का और भी शुरू की जाएंगी जो महत्वपूर्ण पर्यटक स्थलों को जोड़ेंगी.
would be actively pursued. 148-kilometer Bengaluru suburban transport project at a cost of 18,600 crores would have fares on metro model. Central government would provide 20% of the equity, and it will also facilitate external assistance up to 60% of the project cost. Sir, our seaports need to be more efficient. Technology has to be used to improve performance. A governance framework keeping with global benchmarks needs to be put in place.
सभी पोर्ट्स को बेहतर बनाया जाएगा ताकि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर हम कर पाएं.
One major port and subsequently its listing on the stock exchanges. Inland waterways received a boost. Inland waterways received a boost in the last 5 years. The Jal Vikas Marg on National Waterway 1 will be completed.
जल विकास मार्ग
the 890
पूरा हो जाएगा.
Dhubri Sadiyar connectivity in Assam will be done by 2022. Honorable Speaker, sir, developing waterways has its impact on the ecosystem on both the banks of the river. Our Prime Minister has conceptualized Arth Ganga. Plans are afoot to energize economic activity along the river banks.
नदी के किनारों पर ज्यादा से ज्यादा
traffic has been growing rapidly in the country as compared to global average.
इकोनॉमिक काम हो.
100 more airports would be developed by 2024 to support the Udan scheme.
उड़ान स्कीम को सपोर्ट करने के लिए कुछ और नए एयरपोर्ट्स बनाए जाएंगे. 600 से बढ़कर 1,200 तक ये संख्या बढ़ के पहुंच जाएगी. 1.7 लाख करोड़ सिर्फ यातायात क्षेत्र में आवंटित किया गया. हर घर बिजली पहुंचे सबसे बड़ी उपलब्धि रही है सरकार की, लेकिन अभी भी वितरण और डिस्कॉम्स जो है उनमें वित्तीय परेशानी है, चिंता है. सभी राज्यों से और केंद्र शासित राज्यों से अनुरोध है प्रीपेड स्मार्ट मीटर्स लगाएं और अगले 3 साल में प्रीपेड स्मार्ट मीटर्स सब जगह लगा दिए जाएं. ये लोगों के लिए भी अच्छा होगा जो पारदर्शिता लाएगा कीमतों पर और जो पैसे कंज्यूमर्स को देने हैं. प्रीपेड स्मार्ट सीट जो मीटर्स है वो बिजली के लिए लग जाए.
Further measure to reform DISCOMs would be taken. I propose to provide 22,000 crores to power and renewable energy sector for the year 2020-21. So now I come to oil and natural gas. In the upstream sector, oil and gas, the open acreage licensing policy, OALP, is a success, having awarded 137,000 square kilometers for exploration to private sector and to the CPSCs. City gas distribution rights are also awarded. Further, it is proposed to expand the national gas grid from the present 16,200 kilometers. At the moment, it is 16,200 kilometers only. We propose to expand it to reach 27,000 kilometers. To deepen the gas markets in India, further reforms will be undertaken to facilitate transparent price discovery and also ease of transactions.
तेल और नेचुरल प्रोडक्ट्स उत्पादन पर
the new economy now.
नई अर्थव्यवस्था, नई इकोनॉमी, ये नए तरीके पर और जो पुराने व्यवस्था है उसको नए सिरे से आगे ले जाने की है।
Data storage, quantum computing, etc.
क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग, डेटा स्टोरेज महत्वपूर्ण अंग है इसके। नए विश्व आर्थिक व्यवस्था में, ऑर्डर में भारत एक एग्रीगेटर प्लेटफॉर्म के रूप में, जो कि पारंपरिक बिजनेस से अलग है, नई तकनीक जिससे डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर हो और आर्थिक रूप से सबको शामिल किया जा सके, ये हमने किया है। डेटा इज द न्यू ऑयल, यानी जो पहले तेल को खजाना माना जाता था, अब डेटा को खजाना माना जाता है। इसका फायदा उठाते हुए एक नई पॉलिसी हम लाएंगे ताकि प्राइवेट सेक्टर डेटा सेंटर पार्क बना सके, प्राइवेट सेक्टर डेटा सेंटर पार्क बना सके पूरे देश में, ताकि इस डेटा का इस्तेमाल सही तरीके से किया जा सके। हमारी कोशिश है कि जितने भी पब्लिक इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, ग्राम पंचायत हो जिसमें आंगनबाड़ी है, हेल्थ वेलनेस सेंटर है, जो सरकारी स्कूल है, पीडीएफ आउटलेट्स हैं, पोस्ट ऑफिस है और पुलिस स्टेशन है, इन सबको डिजिटली कनेक्ट किया जाए ताकि बेहतर काम हो। भारत नेट के जरिए सबको लिंक किया जाएगा 100,000 ग्राम पंचायतों को। ऑप्टिकल फाइबर से इन सबको, इन ग्राम पंचायतों को लिंक किया जाएगा। 6,000 करोड़ इस भारत नेट कार्यक्रम के लिए आवंटित किया जाता है।
Intellectual property creation and protection will play an important role. Several measures are proposed in this regard, which will benefit the startups. A digital
स्टार्टअप्स को फायदा करने के लिए डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म जो कि सीमलेस तरीके से आईपीआर, इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स दिया जाए और बेहतरी के लिए बढ़ने के लिए ये डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म स्टार्टअप्स को काम आएगा।
Honorable Speaker, sir, knowledge translation clusters would be set up across the different technology sectors, including new and emerging sectors, for designing, fabrication, and validation of proof of concept, and further scaling up technology clusters harboring such test beds and small-scale manufacturing facilities would be established. Mapping of India's genetic landscape is critical for next-generation medicine, agriculture, and for biodiversity management. To support this development, we will initiate 2 national-level science schemes.
नेशनल लेवल साइंस स्कीम के जरिए जेनेटिक मैपिंग की जाएगी भारत के लोगों की, और इसके जरिए चाहे वो स्वास्थ्य क्षेत्र हो, कृषि हो, इन सब में बेहतरी होगी, ताकि हम नई सोच, नए आइडियाज को लेकर ऐसे स्टार्टअप्स को भी प्रमोट करेंगे। क्वांटम टेक्नोलॉजी, नए आयाम खुल रहे हैं उसमें, कंप्यूटिंग में, साइबर सिक्योरिटी, जिसकी हर जगह जरूरत है। इसमें बहुत ज्यादा कमर्शियल एप्लीकेशन भी है।
It is proposed to provide an outlay of 8,000 crores over a period of 5 years for the national mission on quantum technologies.
क्वांटम टेक्नोलॉजी के लिए 8,000 करोड़ रुपए आवंटित किए जाते हैं।
Third biggest and pioneering nation if we are able to break into this technology.
भारत तीसरा विश्व का ऐसा देश बनेगा जो क्वांटम टेक्नोलॉजी में प्रतिस्पर्धा में बड़े देश के रूप में, तीसरे बड़े देश के रूप में स्थापित होगा। अब आखिरी हिस्से में
caring society. In our third theme, we focus on women and child,
केयरिंग
social
सोसाइटी,
welfare,
ऐसा समाज
culture and tourism, and also
जो
on environment and
सबकी
climate
चिंता
change.
करे, सबकी देखभाल करे।
Women and child and social welfare, sir. I am pleased to inform
महिला और बाल विकास,
that बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ
बेटी पढ़ाओ के बड़े अच्छे नतीजे हुए हैं। बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ पर विपक्ष का हल्ला।
Sir, if you hear the data, I think it's important not to politicize issues related to women.
बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ जैसे मुद्दे को राजनीतिकरण नहीं करना चाहिए। उसके आंकड़े सुनते हुए सुनिए।
Gross enrollment ratio of girls across all levels of education is now higher than boys.
लड़कियों का एनरोलमेंट अब स्कूलों में लड़कों से ज्यादा है देश में। स्कूलों में
Elementary level,
लड़कियों का एलिमेंट्री लेवल जो शुरुआती,
92% as against
इस वक्त लड़कियों का एनरोलमेंट
89.28 for boys.
लड़कों से ज्यादा है।
At secondary level, it is 81.32% as compared to 78% for boys.
81.3 है लड़कियों के लिए और 78% है लड़कों के लिए। 78%।
A level of 59.70 compared to only 57.54% for boys.
69% के आसपास लड़कियों की और फिर एलिमेंट्री, सेकेंडरी और हायर तीनों में डेटा देती हुई, जिसमें निर्मला सीतारमण बता रही है कि लड़कियों की स्कूल में अब जो एनरोलमेंट है शिक्षा के लिए वो लड़कों से ज्यादा है।
Health of mother and child are correlated closely. Nutrition is the critical component of health.
स्कूलों में लड़कियों की तादाद बढ़ी है, ये बताती हुई निर्मला सीतारमण।
Of children 0 to 6 years, adolescent girls, pregnant women, and
बच्चों,
lactating mothers,
खासतौर पर कम उम्र की लड़कियां और जो प्रेग्नेंट महिलाएं हैं, उनके न्यूट्रिशनल स्टेटस, आंगनबाड़ी महिलाएं में काम करने वाले जो कार्यकर्ता हैं,
to upload the nutritional status of more than 10 crore households. Sir,
10 करोड़ ऐसे हाउसहोल्ड्स के न्यूट्रिशनल स्टेटस आंगनबाड़ी वर्कर्स ने अपलोड किया है, जिसमें बच्चियां हैं, प्रेग्नेंट महिलाएं हैं।
To improve the national nutritional status of children in 0 to 6 years of age, adolescent girls, pregnant women and lactating mothers, our Prime Minister launched
लड़कियों का, महिलाओं का पोषण अभियान, इसके लिए प्रधानमंत्री ने शुरू किया था। 6 लाख आंगनबाड़ी के पास, वर्कर्स के पास अब स्मार्टफोन है, जिसमें वो पोषण का स्तर इन 10 करोड़ घरों के बता रहे हैं। जिस पैमाने पर यह किया जा रहा है वो आज तक देश में कभी नहीं हुआ है।
was increased from 15 years to 18 years in 1978 by amending erstwhile Sharda Act of 1929. As India progresses further, opportunities open up for women to pursue higher education and careers. There are imperatives of lowering MMR, maternal mortality rate, as well as improvement of nutrition levels. Entire issue about age of girl entering motherhood needs also to be seen in this light.
न सिर्फ शादी की उम्र बल्कि बच्चा कितनी उम्र में हो उस पर भी सरकार का ध्यान है।
In 6 months' time.
इसके लिए हम कुछ नीति लेकर आएंगे अगले 6 महीनों में।
35,600 crores for nutrition related programs.
35,000 करोड़ रुपए आवंटित किया जाता है सिर्फ पोषण से जुड़ी हुई योजनाओं के लिए।
So in continuing with our government's commitment to welfare of women, this budget provides for about 28,600 crore for programs that are specific to women. Our government is determined that there shall be no manual cleaning of
28,600 करोड़ महिलाओं के लिए मैनुअल क्लीनिंग ना हो, मैनुअल स्कैवेंजिंग ना हो, इसका जिक्र करती हुई निर्मला सीतारमण।
By the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. The ministry is working with urban local bodies for the adoption of these technologies. We will now take this to its logical conclusion.
शहरी विकास मंत्रालय इस पर काम कर रहा है और
मैं सभी माननीय सदस्यों से आग्रह करूंगा, आप वो बजट पर पर्याप्त समय और पर्याप्त अवसर दूंगा, उस समय आप बोलना, और दादा विशेष रूप से आपको बोलने की परमिशन दूंगा।
थैंक यू सर।
नो
थैंक यू स्पीकर सर। वी विल नाउ टेक दिस।
मैनुअल स्कैवेंजिंग को रोकने के लिए खासतौर पर जो सीवर्स होते हैं वहां पर खुद लोग काम नहीं करें, मशीनों का इस्तेमाल हो, इसके लिए शहरी विकास मंत्रालय काम कर रहा है। इसमें हम कुछ बदलाव करेंगे, ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी लाएंगे जिससे मैनुअल स्कैवेंजिंग को पूरी तरह से रोक दिया जाए। शेड्यूल ट्राइब, अदर बैकवर्ड क्लासेस के लिए 85,000 करोड़ 2020-21 के लिए इसके लिए आवंटित किया जाता है।
I repeat, I propose a budget provision of about 85,000 crores.
85,000 करोड़ इसके लिए पैसा आवंटित किया जा रहा है।
In furthering the development and welfare of scheduled tribes, sir, I provide in the budget for the year 2020-21
शेड्यूल ट्राइब के बेहतरी के लिए 33,000 करोड़ 33,700 करोड़ रुपए आवंटित कर रही है सरकार।
We provide 53,700 crores. This government is mindful of the concerns of senior citizens and Divyang. Accordingly, an enhanced allocation of about 9,500 crore is being provided for 2020-21. So now I move to the second of the third topic theme that I have, which is culture and tourism.
संस्कृति और पर्यटन वाले हिस्से पे
of heritage and conservation under Ministry of Culture.
मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर के तहत कदम उठाए जा रहे हैं। एक डीम्ड यूनिवर्सिटी इसके लिए शुरू किया जा रहा है। म्यूजियोलॉजी, आर्कियोलॉजी, ताकि वैज्ञानिक शोध के जरिए ऐसे म्यूजियम बनाए जाएं जो कि विश्व स्तरीय हो, और ऐसे अभी लोगों की कमी है जिनको पूरी जानकारी हो इसके लिए कदम उठाए जाएंगे। 5 आर्कियोलॉजिकल साइट्स यानी ऐसी जगहें जो पौराणिक रूप से महत्वपूर्ण है, उनको आइडेंटिफाई किया जा रहा है।
हरियाणा, हस्तिनापुर उत्तर प्रदेश, शिव सागर इन असम, धोलावीरा गुजरात, आदिचनल्लूर तमिलनाडु. I repeat, 5 archaeological sites would be developed as iconic sites with on-site.
आर्कियोलॉजिकल साइट को पर्यटन का बड़ा केंद्र बनाया जाएगा, वो 5 है।
हरियाणा, हस्तिनापुर उत्तर प्रदेश, शिवसागर असम, धोलावीरा गुजरात and Adichanallur in Tamil Nadu. Our Prime Minister in January 2020 announced recuration of the Indian Museum in Kolkata, which is the oldest in the country. In the historic old Mint building, Kolkata, a museum on numismatics and trade will also be located. 4 more museums from across the country shall be taken up for renovation and recuration so that a world-class experience can be offered to our visitors. Our government shall also support setting up of a tribal museum in Ranchi, Jharkhand.
ट्राइबल म्यूजियम भी रांची झारखंड में बनाया जाएगा। ऐसे म्यूजियम जिसके जरिए भारत के संस्कृति को सामने रखा जा सके, प्रोजेक्ट किया जाए।
The Harappan Age Maritime Site near Ahmedabad by the Ministry of Shipping.
हरप्पन वक्त के तमाम चीजों को सामने रखने के लिए एक म्यूजियम अहमदाबाद में।
Sir, India has moved up from the rank 65 in 2014 to 34 in 2019 in the Travel and Tourism Competitive Index.
65 से हम 34 स्थान पर पहुंच गए हैं. 34वें स्थान पर पर्यटन के क्षेत्र में
to 1.88 lakh crores for the period January to November 2019 from 1.75 lakh crores. From 1.75 lakh crores, it has gone up to 1.88 lakh crores. Growth of tourism directly relates to growth and employment. States have a critical role to play. I expect the state governments to develop a roadmap for certain identified destinations and formulate financial plans during 2021 against which specified grants will be made available to the states from the center in the year 2020-21. For purpose of tourism promotion, sir, I propose to allocate 2,500 crores for 2020-2021.
2,500 करोड़ पर्यटन क्षेत्र में विकास के लिए आवंटित किया गया.
Under this theme, environment and climate change. In September 2019,
पर्यावरण
the Prime
और
Minister has launched the Coalition
climate change
for
के लिए
Disaster Resilient Infrastructure with its secretariat in Delhi. This global partnership is the second such initiative, international initiative, after the launch of, as members would recall, after the launch of International Solar Alliance. That was in 2015. This global partnership will help in addressing a number of sustainable development goals, as also the aims of Sendai framework.
पर्यावरण को नुकसान पहुंचाए बिना सौर ऊर्जा का कैसे इस्तेमाल हो, इस पर पहल.
Disaster resilient infrastructure. India submitted its nationally determined contribution under the Paris Agreement in 2015 on a best effort basis, keeping in mind the development imperative of our country.
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को बनाते वक्त प्राकृतिक आपदा का ध्यान रखा जाएगा.
1st January 2021, our commitments as action will be executed in various sectors. Honorable Speaker, sir, I interrupt here only to say this is a very important point because a lot of our commitments which have been given in the Paris Climate Change Conference on best effort basis will start kicking in from 1st January 2021. Our commitments as action will be executed in various sectors by the departments and ministries concerned through a normal budget process. They will do it through the normal budgeting process. There are, however, yet thermal power plants that are old and their carbon emission levels are very high. For such power plants, we propose that utilities running them would be advised to close them if their emission is above the preset norms. The land so vacated can be put to alternative uses. In large cities having population above 1 million, clean air is a matter of concern. I'm sure a lot of our members will be keen to know about what steps are being taken for cities and clean air. The government proposes, Honorable Speaker, to encourage such states that are formulating and implementing plans for ensuring cleaner air in cities above 1 million. Parameters for the incentives would be notified by the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change. Allocation for this purpose is 4,400 crores for 2020-2021. So there is something which, before I move to talking about governance, because the three themes that I put before the members is coming to a close, I fall back on the wise words of Thiruvalluvar.
Thiruvalluvar को कोट करती हुई निर्मला सीतारमण.
And this, it's very important, sir. We've heard several words of wisdom from Thiruvalluvar. Thiruvalluvar has spoken about what a good country is. What a good country is actually got to be like. And what makes up for jewels of a good country. I first read it in Tamil, then I'll give you the meaning. Pini inmai, selvam, vilai inbam, emam, பிணியின்மை செல்வம் விளைவின்பம் ஏமம் அணி என்ப நாட்டின் வைந்து அணி என்ப நாட்டிவ் வைந்து. There are 5 what Thiruvalluvar says which are jewels for a good country.
5 महत्वपूर्ण चीजें हैं एक अच्छे देश के लिए.
Meaning the country will have to be without epidemics or illnesses, major illnesses.
बीमारी नहीं हो.
The second he says it should be wealthy. It should have wealth.
उसके पास पैसा होना चाहिए, समृद्धि होनी चाहिए.
It should also have विளைचल in the sense from the fields it should have good crop.
तीसरा अच्छी फसल हो.
It should have happiness. It also should have aimum, which is security and safety.
सुरक्षा हो.
So the 5 jewels.
ये 5 महत्वपूर्ण चीजें हैं जो एक देश के पास होनी चाहिए.
Selvam, vilaibinbam, aimum, and inbam. Prime Minister Modi. प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने आयुष्मान भारत for health for all,
जिससे सबको स्वास्थ्य मिले, बेहतर स्वास्थ्य मिले.
Wealth creators will be respected in this country. Wealth creators will be respected in this country.
जो पैसा कमाते हैं, जो पैसा इकट्ठा करते हैं, उनका सम्मान होगा.
Having good crop.
अच्छी फसल हो. पीएम किसान योजना,
use of fertilizers and proper
आय दोगुनी हो, बेहतर फर्टिलाइजर का इस्तेमाल हो, किसान की समृद्धि, फसल बेहतर होगा. ये 3 चीजें हासिल होती हैं.
and improving agricultural output and looking at ease of living, bringing happiness to people.
लोगों की खुशी, ईज ऑफ लिविंग, जीना आसान हो. और फिर 5वां सुरक्षा, राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा. राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा सबसे बड़ी प्राथमिकता है इस देश की. तिरुवल्लुवर
आपको कुछ होना चाहिए, तमिल में पढ़ा है. बैठ जाइए.
That's right, sir. If Thiruvalluvar identified the 5 jewels,
अगर तिरुवल्लुवर ने इन 5
those 5 jewels are the ones which Prime Minister Modi
चीजों को पहचाना, तो वो 5 चीज प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने इस देश में पूरा किया है.
Respectable and honorable climate, good crops, happiness through ease of living, and national security. So now, with all that said, the bouquet of flowers which I would like to give every citizen, with
फूलों का गुलदस्ता पूरे देश के हर नागरिक को देना है.
Trust and faith, had flowers and aspirational India, had aspirational
उसमें फूल है
a set of flowers,
महत्वाकांक्षी भारत के,
had set of flowers and environment and economy and also
पर्यावरण कैसे बेहतर हो, कॉमर्स के लिए, इंडस्ट्री के लिए, व्यापार के लिए,
was under the caring India, caring society
और
that
समाज जो सबकी देखभाल करे. एक तरफ इसको 2 हाथों से पकड़ा जाता है. एक तरफ सरकार के हाथों में है, तो दूसरी तरफ जो वित्तीय इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उनके हाथ में होता है.
Honorable Speaker, sir, all the while I have explained the color and composition of the bouquet of flowers, schemes and programs. They were grouped under aspirational India, economic development.
मैंने इन तमाम बिंदुओं पर चर्चा की और जानकारी दी. अब मैं बात करूंगी उन 2 हाथों के बारे में जिसमें एक तरफ सरकार है तो दूसरी तरफ वित्तीय संस्थाएं.
Policy driven and good in its intent, and most importantly, trusting in faith, trusting every citizen, the aspirational youth, the hard-working women.
जो युवा हैं, जो मेहनत कश महिलाएं हैं, उन सब तक कैसे ये सब पहुंचे, अब इस बारे में मैं बात करूंगी. एक तरफ सरकार के हाथों में सब कुछ है, तो दूसरी तरफ
Honorable Speaker,
वित्तीय संस्था जो है वो कैसे भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त हो और अच्छा काम करे। स्वास्थ्य, खुशहाली, सुरक्षा, किसानों के लिए उपाय किए गए हैं और ये थिल्लुवर के 5 रत्नों के सपने को पूरा करता है। जो रिस्क उठाने को तैयार हो, उद्यमी, जो मेहनतकश किसान है, जो बुजुर्ग है इस देश के, सीनियर सिटीजन है, और जो मेहनती टैक्स पेयर है, इन सब के लिए बजट है। ईज ऑफ लिविंग यानी जीना आसान हो, इसके लिए मिशन बनाकर उसको हासिल करना है। अब टैक्स एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन पर आ रही है निर्मला सीतारमण।
This is important, sir. Money being allocated to various programs is finance of this country. This is very important, sir. Businesses should have the confidence that things are being fair and the efficiency of the tax administration.
व्यापारियों को ये विश्वास होना चाहिए कि उनके साथ न्याय हो रहा है टैक्स में।
In the statutes, a taxpayer charter.
एक टैक्स पेयर चार्टर हम बनाएंगे।
A taxpayer's charter is getting institutionalized into the statutes. It's going to be enshrined as a part of our laws.
कानून के तहत टैक्स चार्टर लाया जाएगा।
Taxpayer's statutes will be a part of our a taxpayer's charter will be a part of our statutes. Our government would like to reassure taxpayers that we remain committed to taking measures
हम टैक्स पेयर को ये सुनिश्चित कर सकते हैं, करना चाहते हैं कि किसी भी तरह के हरासमेंट से, उत्पीड़न से हम उन्हें बचा कर रखेंगे। हम हर टैक्स पेयर को ये आश्वासन देना चाहते हैं कि सरकार कोई भी किसी भी किस्म की प्रताड़ना, उत्पीड़न टैक्स पेयर का नहीं हो देगी, ताकि वो विश्वास रखें इस व्यवस्था में।
That are civil in nature. This is important, sir. There has been a debate about building into statutes criminal liability for acts that are civil in nature. Hence, for Companies Act, certain amendments are proposed to be made that will correct this. Similarly, other laws would also be examined where such provisions exist.
क्रिमिनल लायबिलिटी जो अब तक आपराधिक लायबिलिटी बनती थी, उस पर सरकार विचार कर रही है, और भी ऐसे जो तमाम कानून है उसको सरकार देख रही है ताकि टैक्स का भय लोगों के मन से हटे।
In governments and public sector banks. At present, candidates have to appear for multiple examinations conducted by multiple agencies at different points of time for similar posts. This places enormous burden on time, effort, and cost for young people. To mitigate the hardship so faced, it is proposed to set up a national recruitment agency as an independent, professional
रिक्रूटमेंट एजेंसी बनाया जाएगा
for conduct of computer-based online common eligibility test for recruitment to non-gazetted posts.
कॉमन एलिजिबिलिटी टेस्ट होगा जिसमें कंप्यूटर रिलेटेड ऐसे तमाम काम जो टैक्स के जरिए होते हैं उनके लिए लोगों को एक एग्जाम पास करना होगा।
कमर्शियल एंड अदर डिस्प्यूट्स गवर्नमेंट हैज कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड वेरियस ट्राइब्यूनल्स एंड
कई ट्राइब्यूनल बनाए गए हैं जहां पर भी टैक्स को लेकर कोई
रोबस्ट मैकेनिज्म फॉर अपॉइंटमेंट
मतभेद हो, परेशानी हो,
टू दीज बॉडीज टू अट्रैक्ट बेस्ट टैलेंट्स एंड प्रोफेशनल एक्सपर्ट्स। A stable and predictable business environment is a key objective of this government. There is also a strong argument for ensuring that contracts are honored. India has a sound framework related to Contracts Act. We shall deliberate upon strengthening it. There is a growing need, sir, for Indian statistical system to meet the challenges of real-time monitoring of our increasingly complex economy.
रियल टाइम मॉनिटरिंग हो इकोनॉमी की, इसके लिए पहल की जा रही है।
न्यू नेशनल
पॉलिसी
ऑफिशियल स्टैटिस्टिक्स
ऑन ऑफिशियल स्टैटिस्टिक्स यानी
इंक्लूडिंग आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस। इट वुड ले डाउन अ रोड मैप टुवर्ड्स मॉडर्नाइज्ड डेटा कलेक्शन।
मॉडर्नाइज डेटा कलेक्शन होगा, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का इस्तेमाल होगा, ताकि जो भी डेटा ऐसे कलेक्ट हो उसका पारदर्शी रूप से लोगों तक पहुंचाया जा सके।
G20 presidency in the year 2022.
2022 में G20 प्रेसिडेंसी भारत में होगा।
75th anniversary of
75वें
of the Indian nation. During this presidency,
स्वतंत्रता दिवस
India would be able to drive
के
considerable
वर्ष ये होना भी बड़ा उत्सव
global
होगा।
economic and development agenda. For this historic occasion, I allocate a sum of 100 crore to begin
100 करोड़
the preparation.
इस तैयारी के लिए अभी से ही आवंटित किया जाता है।
North Eastern
जब
region has a very
G20
high
का प्रेसिडेंसी
priority
भारत में
in
होगा।
government's developmental agenda. Government is ensuring smooth access to financial assistance from multilateral and bilateral funding agencies to help introduce innovative and global best practices. Central government has effectively used an online portal to reduce gestation period of online. This has improved the flow of funds to the Northeast region. The government is fully committed to supporting the all-round development of the newly formed Union Territories of Jammu and Kashmir and the Union Territory of Ladakh. Accordingly,
जम्मू
an
कश्मीर
amount
और
of
लद्दाख के लिए
30,757
अलग से पैसे का आवंटन किया जा
has
रहा है।
been provided for the financial year 2020-21. An amount of 5,958 crore has been provided for the Union Territory of Ladakh. So that was one hand, which is governance. Now I come to the other, which is the financial sector. If governance was described as one of the pair of the hands holding the bouquet consisting of aspirational India, economic development and caring India, the other is the financial sector. A clean, reliable, robust financial sector is critical to the economy. A clean, reliable and robust financial sector is critical to the economy. In our efforts to achieve the US $5 trillion economy, the financial architecture should evolve. The financial architecture should keep evolving and move
$5 trillion
from strength
डॉलर
to
इकोनॉमी
strength.
बनाने के लिए
We
वित्तीय
had earlier
संस्था
approved
का भी उतना ही
consolidation of
मजबूत
10
होना,
banks into 4.
भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त
In the
होना
last
जरूरी
few
है।
years, the government of India has infused about 3,50,000 crores by way of capital into public sector banks for both regulatory and growth purposes. Governance reforms would be carried out in these banks so that they become more competitive. A few among them will be encouraged to approach capital market to raise additional capital. So I wish to inform this august House that robust mechanism is in place to monitor the health of all scheduled commercial banks and that depositors' money is absolutely safe.
एक मॉनिटरिंग कार्यक्रम इस वक्त चल रहा है ताकि जितने भी कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स हैं उनकी सेहत को देखा जाए और जिन लोगों ने पैसा जमा किया है उनके पैसे को कोई खतरा ना हो।
Mechanism is in place to monitor the health of all scheduled commercial banks and that depositors' money is absolutely safe.
शेड्यूल्ड कमर्शियल बैंक्स की सेहत पर इस वक्त निगरानी की जा रही है ताकि जो लोगों ने पैसा जमा किया है उनका पैसा सुरक्षित रहे।
Deposit insurance coverage for a depositor, which is now standing at 1 lakh of rupees to 5 lakh per depositor. So the insurance cover for a depositor is at 1 lakh now.
इंश्योरेंस जो एक डिपॉजिटर पर है, पैसा जमा करने वाले पर है, वो अभी 1 लाख है, उसे हम 5 लाख कर रहे हैं हर ऐसे व्यक्ति पर जो बैंक में पैसा जमा करता है।
Are proposed for increasing professionalism, enabling access to capital, and improving governance and oversight for sound banking through the RBI. The limit for NBFCs to be eligible for debt recovery under the securitization and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of security interests under the SARFAESI Act 2002 is proposed to be reduced from 500 crores to asset size 100 crores only, or loan size from existing 1 crore to 50 lakhs. Therefore, we feel many of the small NBFCs which can come for debt recovery would be far easily done for smaller companies. In the last few years, the government has taken concrete steps to bring our banking system to be robust.
बैंकिंग सिस्टम को कैसे बेहतर बनाया जाए, ज्यादा निजी कैपिटल पैसा है,
गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया's IDBI Bank to private retail and institutional investors through the stock exchange. There is a need, sir, to take further steps to bring in transparency and greater professionalism in public sector banks.
पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स में कैसे ज्यादा प्रोफेशनलिज्म आए, इसके लिए कदम उठाए जा रहे हैं, सरकार कदम उठा रही है। IDBI को लेकर खास ऐलान करती हुई निर्मला सीतारमन,
into the universal pension coverage with auto enrollment. Also, we wish to place such mechanisms which can enable interoperability and provide safeguards for the accumulated corpus. Regulating role of PFRDAI, which is the pension regulatory body, requires strengthening. Necessary amendments would be carried out in Pension Fund Regulatory Development Authority of India Act that will also facilitate separation of NPS trust for government employees from the PFRDAI. This would also enable establishment of a pension trust by the employees other than from the government. I am confident that this will motivate citizens to plan for their old age. So this section, which I will now speak, will relate to the MSMEs. MSMEs are vital to keep the wheels of our economy moving. They also create jobs, innovate, and also risk takers, and they are risk takers. Several measures for the MSMEs have been taken in the past few years. There are more steps proposed in this budget also. I propose to make necessary amendments to the Factor Regulation Act 2011. This will enable NBFCs to extend invoice financing to the MSMEs through TREDS, thereby enhancing the economic and financial sustainability. Working capital credit remains a major issue for the MSMEs. It is proposed to introduce a scheme to provide subordinate debt for entrepreneurs of MSMEs. This subordinate debt to be provided by banks would count as quasi-equity and would be fully guaranteed through the Credit Guarantee Trust for medium and small entrepreneurs. The corpus of the CGT MSC would accordingly be augmented by the government. More than 5 lakh MSMEs have benefited from restructuring of debt permitted by RBI in the last year. The restructuring window was to end on 31st March 2020. Government has asked RBI to consider extending this window till 31st March 2021, one more year, so that whoever wants, they can go and approach. An app-based invoice financing loans product will be launched. This will obviate the problem of delayed payments and consequential cash flow mismatches for the MSME. Many mid-sized companies are successful domestically, but not in export markets. For selected sectors such as pharmaceuticals, auto components, and others, we propose to extend hand-holding support for technology upgradations, R&D, business strategy planning, and so on. A scheme of 1,000 crore rupees will be anchored in the Exim Bank together with the SIDBI. Both these institutions would contribute 50 crores each. This 100 crore would be achieved towards equity and technical assistance. Debt funding of 900 crores from banks would be made available. Sir, financial markets. I would like to give a few of the major steps and initiatives being taken by the government for the financial markets. Last year in my budget speech,
non-gazetted
I had
पदों के
mentioned about deepening the bond
ये ऐलान
market.
किए गए हैं. बॉन्ड मार्केट को कैसे डीप किया जाए, इस पर एस्पिरेशनल ग्रोथ रेट पर जिक्र करती हुई
in our financial system. A lot of work has been done on this in consultation with the RBI.
आरबीआई के साथ इस पर काम किया गया है.
I am pleased to inform this House of the developments.
जो कदम उठाए गए हैं वो मैं हाउस को बता रही हूँ.
Categories of government securities would be open fully for non-resident investors, apart from being available to domestic investors also.
डोमेस्टिक और नॉन रेजिडेंट जो देश में नहीं रहते उनके लिए भी, इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए ये सुविधा होगी.
9% of outstanding stocks will be increased to 15% of the outstanding stock of corporate bonds. To improve investors' confidence and to expand the scope of credit default swaps, we propose to formulate a legislation to be placed soon before this House for laying down a mechanism for netting of financial contracts. The debt-based exchange-traded fund, the ETF, recently floated by the government was a big success. Government proposes to expand this by floating a new debt ETF consisting primarily of government securities. This will give retail investors access to government securities as much as giving an attractive investment for pension funds and long-term investors. So to address the liquidity constraints of the NBFCs and the HFCs, this was very much talked about between July and December last year, 2019. Liquidity constraints was very frequently mentioned to us. So to address liquidity constraints of the NBFCs and the housing finance corporations, post the Union Budget 2019-20, the government formulated a partial credit guarantee scheme for the NBFCs. To further the support of providing liquidity, a mechanism would be devised. Government will offer support by guaranteeing securities that are so floated. Infrastructure financing. Government's commitment for investment in infrastructure was reiterated when 103 lakh crore national infrastructure pipeline projects were announced. I would also like to inform that about 22,000 crores of rupees has already been provided as support for infrastructure pipeline. On December 31st, if honorable members would recall, a national pipeline consisting of more than 6,500 projects were announced. 22,000 crore has already been provided as support to infrastructure pipeline. This would cater for equity support to infrastructure finance companies such as the IIFCL and a subsidiary which is of NIIF. So two institutions, IIFCL and the subsidiary of NIIF, take it. They would leverage it as permissible to create financing pipeline of more than 1 lakh crores. This would create a major source of long-term debt financing for infrastructure projects and fulfill a long-awaited requirement. So the IFSC, GIFT City, has the potential to become a center of international finance as well as a center for high-end data processing.
फाइनेंस का केंद्र बनने की क्षमता होगी, उसके लिए अलग ऐलान किए जा रहे हैं.
Insurance entities, 40 banking entities. It has also provided for setting up of precious metals, testing laboratories for them, and refining facilities also. With the approval of the regulator, GIFT City would now set up an international bullion exchange in GIFT City IFSC as an additional option for trade by global market participants. This will enable India to enhance its position worldwide, create jobs in India, and will lead to better price discovery of gold. Sir, in the recent years, there has been a surge in trading volumes of Indian rupee in the offshore financial centers. The government and the RBI has taken various measures to permit rupee derivatives to be traded in the International Financial Services Center at Gift City, Gujarat. So just a very quick word on disinvestment. Listing of companies on stock exchanges brings discipline, and it disciplines the company and provides access to financial markets and unlocks its value. It also gives opportunity for retail investors to participate in the wealth so created. The government now proposes to sell a part of its holding in the LIC by way of
LIC में एक हिस्सा बेचने का सरकार ने फैसला लिया है, जिसका विरोध विपक्ष करता हुआ। LIC में हिस्सा बेचने का सरकार का ऐलान, जिस पर विपक्ष का विरोध। लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कंपनी पब्लिक सेक्टर कंपनी, और इसीलिए इसका विरोध करता विपक्ष।
Pertaining to financial year 2020-2021. In the spirit of cooperative federalism, I am pleased to announce that we have in substantial measure accepted the recommendations of the Commission. The Commission would submit its final report to the President during the latter part of the year for 5 years beginning 2021-22. It is decided to transfer to the GST Compensation Fund balances due out of the collection of the years 2016-17 and 17-18 in 2 installments. Hereinafter, transfers to the fund would be limited only to the collection by way of GST compensation cess. A fundamental overhaul of centrally sponsored schemes and central sector schemes is necessary so that we can align them with emerging social and economic needs of tomorrow and to ensure that scarce public resources are spent optimally. Recently, there has been a debate over transparency and credibility of the projected fiscal numbers. Let me assure the House that the procedure adopted is compliant with the FRBM Act. This is also consistent with the practices hitherto followed. However, for greater clarity, I have enumerated those central government debt that are not part of the market borrowing and are used to fund the expenditure at the annex. I'd like to repeat this line, sir. I'd like to repeat this line, sir. For greater clarity, I have enumerated those central government debts that are not part of market borrowing and are used to fund the expenditure at the annex. Servicing of interest and repayment of these debts, servicing of interest and repayment of these debts as hitherto done are done out of Consolidated Fund of India. So now I come to some numbers. Revised estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2019-20 are at a level of 26.99 lakh crores and the receipts are estimated at 19.32 lakh crores. We have estimated nominal growth of GDP for the year 2020-21 on the basis of trends available at 10%. Accordingly, we have estimated. Sir, let me finish, sir.
सरकार आईपीओ द्वारा LIC में अपना शेयर पूंजी का हिस्सा बेचने का प्रस्ताव करती है, ये निर्मला सीतारमण ने कहा। उसके बाद सरकार ने 15वें वित्त आयोग की सिफारिशें स्वीकार कर ली हैं।
We have estimated the nominal growth.
हमने मामूली ग्रोथ इजाफा GDP में देखा है।
On the basis of trends available at 10%.
जिस पर विपक्ष ग्रोथ के उनके प्रोजेक्शन पर विपक्ष का हंगामा।
2020-21 are estimated at 22.46 lakh crores, and keeping in mind commitment of the government towards various schemes and the need for improvement of the quality of life, level of expenditure has been kept at 30.42 lakh crores. Sir, during the year, government has unfailingly worked towards keeping up capital expenditure. Actually, there is substantial enhancement. All the flagship schemes of the government have been fully provided for. Details may be seen in the annexes to the printed copy of my speech. Every budget must appropriately
जीडीपी में मामूली बढ़ोतरी का अनुमान है। इसको स्वीकारने को विपक्ष तैयार नहीं। वित्त मंत्री ने कुल खर्च बताया 26.99 लाख करोड़ रुपए।
Very significant tax reforms
reform.
Boosting investment. However, expected tax buoyancy will take time. We estimate a fiscal deficit of 3.8% in RE 2019-20 and
3.8% पर वित्तीय घाटा।
for BE 2020-2021. This estimation is consistent with the government's abiding commitment to macroeconomic stability, and it comprises of A, 3.3 for year 2019-20 and 3 for the 2020-2021 budget estimate, and B, Section 4(2) of the FRBM Act, which provides for a trigger mechanism for a deviation from the estimated fiscal deficit on account of structural reforms in the economy with unanticipated fiscal implications. Therefore, I have taken a deviation of 0.5% consistent with the Section 4(3) of the FRBM Act.
जो राजकोषीय घाटा है जीडीपी का वो 3.8 का अनुमान।
Accordingly,
3.8% वित्तीय घाटे का अनुमान।
As a part of the medium-term fiscal policy comes strategy statement. This fiscal path commits us to the path of fiscal consolidation without compromising the needs of investment out of public funds. Accordingly, net market borrowings for the year 2019-20 would be 4.99 lakh crore, and for the year 2020-21 it would be 5.36 lakh crores. A good part, this is very important, sir, a good part of the borrowings of the financial year 2020-21 would go towards capital expenditure of the government that has been scaled up by more than 21%. As I had previously mentioned, another about 22,000 crores have already been allocated for equity to fund certain specified infrastructure finance companies who would leverage it manifold and provide much needed long-term finance for infrastructure sector. That should spur the growth impulses in the economy. So I would now move to part B of my speech. Thanks. Direct tax. Thanks. No, thanks. Sir, part B of my speech starts with direct tax, sir. Honorable Speaker, sir, our government has spearheaded radical fiscal measures to ensure that Indian economy continues to tread the path of high growth. There are times when countries are competing with each other like never before to become the most attractive destination for doing business. Therefore, to make sure that India stays globally competitive and a favored destination for investment, we took a bold historic decision of reducing the corporate tax rate for new companies in the manufacturing sector to an unprecedented level of 15%. Similarly, for the existing companies, The rate has also been brought down to 22%, which is the lowest in the world now. This will enable companies to expand their businesses and make fresh investments in the coming future. Though we will have loss of substantial revenue due to these measures in the short run, I'm certain that our economy will reap huge returns on this score.
चाहे रेवेन्यू में थोड़ी कमियां हो, लेकिन हम ये कदम उठा रहे हैं.
Verse from Raghuvansa,
कालिदासम से कोट करती हुई निर्मला सीतारमण.
प्रजानाम एव भूत्यर्थम सत्ताभ्यो बलिम अग्रहीत. प्रजानाम एव भूत्यर्थम सत्ताभ्यो बलिम अग्रहीत. सहस्र गुणम उत्सृष्टम आदत्ते ही rasam ravi. Surya, the sun, collects vapor from little drops of water. He collects only from little drops of water. So does the king. They give back copiously. They collect these from the people only for their well-being. So the collection of taxes or the vapor from the water drops are only from small trickles, but they all go back to the people manifold. So the purpose of taxation and also the way in which it is done has been voiced even then. And this in Raghuvamsa refers to the Purvaja or the elders belonging to Ikshvaku dynasty, father of Ayodhyapati Rama, Dileepa, grandfather. It refers to Dileepa, the king. So in continuation of the reform measures already taken so far,
tax reform का जिक्र करती हुई निर्मला सीतारमण, tax
will introduce further reforms to stimulate growth, simplify tax structure,
नई कंपनी के लिए कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स 15%, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में पुरानी कंपनियों के लिए 22% टैक्स, पर्सनल इनकम टैक्स और उसमें सरलीकरण.
In the interim budget of 2019,
इस इंटरिम बजट में
exempted individuals having income up to 5 lakh of rupees
5 लाख तक जिनकी आमदनी थी उनको इनकम टैक्स से
an individual pays
मुक्ति दी गई थी.
20% on income between 5 lakh and 10 lakh.
20% देता है 5 से 10 लाख के बीच में और 15%
matrix. Further, currently the Income Tax Act is riddled with various exemptions and deductions which make compliance by the taxpayer and administration of Income Tax Act by the tax authorities a burdensome process. It is almost impossible for a taxpayer to comply with income tax law without taking the help from professionals. In order to provide significant relief to the individual taxpayers and to simplify the income tax law, I propose to bring a new simplified personal income tax regime wherein income tax rates will be significantly reduced for the individual taxpayers who forego certain deductions and exemptions. Under the new regime, sir, an individual shall be required to pay tax at the reduced rate of 10% for income between 5 lakhs to 7.5 lakhs against the prevailing 20%. So anyone who's earning between 5 to 7.5 lakhs, sir, today pays 20%. We are now reducing it in the new regime, which is devoid of exemptions, to 10% only. So 20% comes down to 10%. Sir, the next example. For income between 7.5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, I earlier said about 5 to 7.5, now I'm saying about 7.5 to 10 lakhs. So for income between 7.5 lakh to 10 lakh, he or she will pay at the reduced rate of 15% only against the current prevailing 20%. Sir, similarly, for the income between 10 lakhs to 12.5 lakhs, presently the tax is 30%. For income between 10 lakh to 12.5 lakh, the present prevailing rate is 30%. That is now being brought down to 20% only. Sir, the income between, I spoke about 10 to 12.5 lakhs. Now, 12.5 lakhs to 15 lakhs will be taxed. At the moment, 12.5 to 15 lakhs is taxed at 30%. Now, those earning between 12.5 lakhs to 15 lakhs will be charged at 25% only. Sir, incomes above 15 lakhs will be continued at 30%, but no exemptions at all. Those earning up to 5 lakhs shall not pay any tax either in the old regime or in the new regime. So the proposed tax structure will provide significant relief to taxpayers and more so to those in the middle class. I just want to very clearly read out 0 to 2.5 lakhs exempt now, will be exempt in the new scheme also. 2.5 lakhs to 5 lakhs, 5% now will be 5% in the new tax rate. 5 to 7.5 lakhs, 20% now will become 10% in the new rate. 7.5 to 10 lakhs, 20% now will be 15% in the new. 10 to 12.5 lakhs, 30% now will now come to 20%. 12.5 to 15 lakhs, 30% now, 25% in the new rate. Above 15 continues at 30%. In the new tax regime, sir, substantial tax benefit will accrue to a taxpayer depending upon the exemptions and deductions claimed by him. For example, just to make it clear, for example, a person earning 15 lakh of rupees in a year and not availing any deductions whatsoever will pay 1,95,000 as compared to 2,73,000 that is paying now in the old regime. So his tax burden shall be reduced by 78,000 rupees. That will be the reduction in the tax that he has to otherwise pay. Then this is the example of somebody who earns 15 lakhs. He would still be a gainer. He would still be a gainer in the new regime even if he was taking deduction of 1.5 lakh under various sections of Chapter 6A of the Income Tax Act under the old regime. The new tax regime, sir, shall be optional for taxpayers, so there's no compulsion. Those who want to be in the old regime can continue to be in the old regime, in the old rates, in the whole sets of exemptions and deductions. But those who wish to come into the new are welcome to come into the new. An individual who is currently availing more deductions and exemptions under the Income Tax Act may choose to avail them and continue to pay the tax in the old regime. A new personal tax income tax rates will entail estimated revenue foregone of 40,000 crores per year. We have also initiated measures to pre-fill income tax return so that an individual who opts for the new regime would need no assistance from an expert to file his return and pay income tax. Sir, I will have to put this observation here. In order to simplify income tax system, I have reviewed all the exemptions and deductions which got incorporated in the income tax legislation over the past several decades. In fact, I have that list with me, sir. I have reviewed all the exemptions and deductions which got incorporated in the income tax legislation over the past several decades. It was surprising to know that currently more than 100 exemptions and deductions of different nature are provided in the Income Tax Act. No wonder the code is like this, the book. I have removed around 70 of them. I have removed around 70 of them in the new simplified regime. We will review and rationalize the remaining exemptions and deductions in the coming years, with a view to further simplifying the tax system and lowering tax rates. Sir, the dividend distribution tax. Currently, companies are required to pay dividend distribution tax on the dividend paid to its shareholders at the rate of 15% plus applicable surcharge and cess, in addition to the tax payable by the company on its profits. It has been argued that the system of levying DDT results in increase in tax burden for investors, and especially those who are liable to pay tax less than the rate of DDT if the dividend income is included in their income. Further, non-availability of credit of DDT to most of the foreign investors in their home country results in reduction of rate of return on equity capital for them. In order to increase the attractiveness of the Indian equity market and to provide relief to a large class of investors, I propose to remove the DDT and adopt the classical system of dividend distribution tax, under which companies would not be required to pay DDT. The dividend shall be taxed only in the hands of the recipients at their applicable rates. Further, in order to remove the cascading effect, I also propose to allow deduction for the dividend received by holding company from its subsidiary. The removal of DDT will lead to estimated annual revenue foregone of 25,000 crores. This is another bold move, sir, which will further make India an attractive destination for investment. Sir, a concessional rate for electricity generation companies. In order to give boost to the manufacturing sector, new provisions were introduced in September 2019, offering a concessional corporate tax rate of 15% to the newly incorporated domestic companies in the manufacturing sector, which start manufacturing by March 31st, 2023, the corporate rate cut which happened in September. In order to attract investment in power sector, I propose to extend the concessional corporate tax rate cut down to 15% to new domestic companies engaged in the generation of electricity as well. So that corporate rate, which came down to 15% for the new manufacturing companies, will now be available even for power generation companies too. So tax concession for foreign investments. In order to incentivize the investment by foreign sovereign wealth funds of foreign governments in the priority sector, I propose to grant 100% tax exemption to their interest, dividend and capital gains income in respect of investment made in infrastructure and other notified sectors before 31st March 2024 with a minimum lock-in period of 3 years. Honourable Speaker, sir, in order to make available foreign funds at lower cost, I propose to extend the period of concessional withholding rate of 5% under Section 194 LC for interest payment to non-residents in respect of monies borrowed and bonds issued up to 30th June 2023. I also propose to extend the period up to 30th June 2023 for lower rate of withholding of 5% under Section 194 LD for interest payment to foreign portfolio investors and qualified foreign investors in respect of bonds issued by Indian companies and government securities. I further propose to extend the concessional rate of withholding of 5% under Section 194 LD to the interest payment made on the municipal bonds. In order to incentivize listing of bonds at IFSC exchange, I propose to further reduce the withholding rate from 5% to 4% on interest payment on the bonds listed on its exchanges. Startups. Startups have emerged as an engine of growth for our economy. Over the past year, our government has taken several measures to handhold them and support their growth. During their formative years, startups generally use Employee Stock Option Plan, the ESOP, to attract and retain highly talented employees. ESOP is a significant component of compensation for these employees. Currently, ESOPs are taxable as perquisites at the time of exercise. This leads to cash flow problem for the employees who do not sell the shares immediately and continue to hold the same for long term. In order to give a boost to the startup ecosystem, I propose to ease the burden of taxation on the employees by deferring the tax payment by 5 years, or till they leave the company, or when they sell their shares, whichever is the earliest. Further, an eligible startup having turnover of up to 25 crores is allowed a deduction of 100% of its profits for 3 consecutive assessment years out of 7 years. If the total turnover does not exceed 25 crore rupees. In order to extend this benefit to larger startups also, I propose to increase the turnover limit from existing 25 crores to 100 crores. Moreover, considering the fact that in the initial years, a startup may not have adequate profit to avail this deduction, I propose to extend the period of eligibility for claim of deduction from the existing 7 years to 10 years. So the corporate rate cut in September has led to a lot of cooperatives who are asking for level playing field. Cooperative societies play an extremely important role in our economy in facilitating access to credit, procurement of inputs, and marketing of products to their members. These cooperatives are currently taxed at the rate of 30% with surcharge and cess. As a major concession, and in order to bring parity between cooperative societies and corporates, I propose to provide an option to the cooperative societies to be taxed at 22% plus 10% surcharge and 4% cess with no exemption or deductions. Further, I also propose to exempt these cooperative societies from alternative minimum tax, the AMT, just like companies under the new tax regime are exempted from minimum alternative tax, the MAT. MAT for corporate tax, corporates were removed, and similarly now AMT for the cooperatives is also being moved. Medium and small and micro enterprises, the MSMEs, currently businesses having turnover of more than 1 crore rupees
छोटे और मझोले उद्योग पर बोलती हुई निर्मला सीतारमण
of accounts audited by an accountant. In order to reduce the compliance burden on small retailers,
जो छोटे व्यापारी हैं,
shopkeepers who comprise the MSME sector,
टैक्स का भार घटाने के लिए
I propose to raise by 5 times the
5 गुना
threshold for
टर्नओवर थ्रेशोल्ड
from the existing
इन
1
पर
crore to 5 crore.
बढ़ाया जाता है.
Up to 5 crore, there wouldn't be a requirement for auditing of their accounts.
5 करोड़ तक ऑडिटिंग की कोई जरूरत नहीं होगी
Cash economy,
ऐसे व्यापारियों को.
I propose that the increased limit shall apply only to those businesses which carry out less than 5% of their businesses and business transactions in cash. So we wish to move to greater digitization. Affordable housing. For realization of the goal of housing for all and affordable housing, in the last budget, I had announced an additional deduction of up to 1,50,000 rupees for interest paid on loans taken for the purchase of an affordable house. The deduction was allowed on housing loans sanctioned on or before 31st March 2020. In order to ensure that more persons avail this benefit and to further incentivize the affordable housing, I propose to extend the date of loan sanction for availing this additional deduction by 1 more year. Further, in order to boost the supply of affordable houses in the country, a tax holiday is provided on the profits earned by developers of affordable housing projects approved by 31st March 2020. In order to promote the affordable housing projects, I propose to extend the date of approval of affordable housing projects for availing the tax holiday by 1 more year again. I propose to extend the date of approval of affordable housing projects for availing this tax holiday by 1 more year. So next is the concession to real estate transactions. Currently, while taxing income from capital gains, business profits, and other sources in respect of transactions in real estate, if the consideration value is less than the circle rate by more than 5%, the difference is counted as income both in the hands of the purchaser and the seller. In order to minimize hardship in the real estate transaction and provide relief to the sector, I propose to increase the limit from 5% to 10%. Charity institutions. Acknowledging the important role played by the charitable institutions in the society, the income of these institutions is fully exempt from taxation. Further, donations made to these institutions are also allowed as deduction in computing taxable income of the donor. Currently, a taxpayer is required to fill the complete details of the donation done in the income tax return for availing deduction. In order to ease the process of claiming deduction for donation, it is proposed to pre-fill the donee's information in taxpayer's return on the basis of information of donations furnished by the donee. This would result in hassle-free claim of deduction for the donation made by the taxpayer. Further, in order to claim the tax exemption, the charity institution had to be registered with the income tax department. In the past, the process of the registration was completely manual and scattered all over the country. In order to simplify the compliance for the new and existing charity institutions, I propose to make the process of registration completely electronic, under which a unique registration number shall be issued to all new and existing charity institutions. To facilitate the registration of the new charity institution, which is yet to start their charitable activities, I propose to allow them provisional registration of 3 years. Faceless appeals. Our government is committed to bringing in transformational changes so that maximum governance is provided with minimum government. In order to impart greater efficiency, transparency, and accountability to the assessment process, a new faceless assessment scheme has already been introduced. Currently, most of the functions of the income tax department, starting from the filing of return, processing of returns, issuance of refunds, and assessment, are performed in the electronic mode without any human interface. In order to take the reforms initiated by the department to the next level and to eliminate human interface, I propose to amend the Income Tax Act so as to enable faceless appeal on the lines of faceless assessment. So faceless assessment was done, now faceless appeals will also be possible. Sir, Honorable Speaker, Vivad se Vishwas scheme. Vivad se Vishwas scheme.
विवाद से विश्वास स्कीम, इनकम टैक्स में रिफॉर्म, विश्वास कैसे बनाया जा सके?
No dispute but trust scheme. विवाद से विश्वास scheme. Sir, in the past, our government has taken several measures to reduce tax litigations. In the last budget, Sabka Vishwas scheme was brought in to reduce litigation in indirect taxes. It resulted in settling over 1,89,000 cases. Currently, there are 4,83,000 direct tax cases. 4,83,000 direct tax cases pending in various appellate forums, Commissioner of Appeals, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, High Court, Supreme Court, and so on. This year, I propose to bring a scheme similar to the indirect tax Sabka Vishwas scheme for reducing the litigation even in the direct taxes. Under the proposed Vivad Se Vishwas scheme, a taxpayer would be required to pay only the amount of disputed tax and will get complete waiver of interest and penalty provided he pays by 31st March 2020. Those who avail this scheme after 31st March 2020 will have to pay some additional amount, but even then they can come in. The scheme will remain open till 30th June 2020. So the first thing is 31st March 2020, where you just pay the disputed tax amount, no penalty, no interest. In case you don't do it before that, you move over to 30th June, but where you pay some additional amount. Taxpayers in whose cases appeals are pending at any level can benefit from this scheme. I hope that taxpayers will make use of this opportunity to get relief from vexatious litigation process. So losses of merged banks. As part of consolidation of the financial sector, our government has brought out schemes for merger and amalgamation of public sector banks in order to ensure that amalgamated entities are able to take the benefit of unabsorbed losses and depreciation of the amalgamated entities. I propose to make necessary amendments to the provision of the Income Tax Act. Taxpayers' Charter. I mentioned it briefly in Part A. Any tax system requires trust between taxpayers and the administration. This will be possible only when taxpayers' rights are clearly enumerated. Towards this end, and with the objective of enhancing the efficiency of delivery system of the Income Tax Department, I propose to amend the provisions of the Income Tax Act to mandate the Central Board of Direct Taxes, CBDT, to adopt a taxpayer's charter. The details of the contents of the charter will be notified soon. Instant PAN through Aadhaar. In the last budget, I had introduced the interchangeability of PAN and Aadhaar, for which necessary rules were already notified. In order to further ease the process of allotment of PAN, soon we will launch a system under which PAN shall be instantly allotted online on the basis of Aadhaar without any requirement for filling up of detailed application form. Sir, our government brought in the GST as a historic reform of the indirect taxes in 2017. We also took a path-breaking step of simplifying and rationalizing corporate tax in September 2019. More importantly, we offered a rate of corporate tax which perhaps is the lowest in the world. Continuing on this path, we have now put the personal income tax at its lowest ever rate and totally removed the DDT at the company's hands. Further, the direct taxes are now the lowest, simplest, and the smoothest. Direct tax on the startups have also seen many reformatory steps in quick succession. Even ease of compliance is seeing unprecedented changes. Last but not the least, personal interface with tax administration is at a minimum level. So last, indirect tax. Indirect tax, sir. As I mentioned earlier in Part A of my speech, reforms are continuing in the GST. A simplified return shall be implemented from 1st April 2020. This is under the pilot run. It will make return filing simple with features like SMS-based filing for nil return, return pre-filling, improved input tax credit flow, and overall simplification. Refund process has been simplified and has been made fully automated with no human interface. Electronic invoice is another innovation wherein critical information shall be captured electronically in centralized systems. It will be implemented in a phased manner starting from this month itself on optional basis. It will facilitate compliance and return filing. Several measures have been taken for improving compliance. That has been a worry for many of the states, sir. Aadhaar-based verification of taxpayers is being introduced. This will help in weeding out dummy or non-existent unit. Dynamic QR code is proposed for consumer invoices. GST parameters will be captured when payment for purchases is made through the QR code. A system of cash reward is envisaged to incentivize customers to seek invoice. Deep data analytics and AI tools are being used for crackdown on GST input tax credit refund, input tax credit refund and other frauds, and to identify all those who are trying to game the system. Invoice and input tax credit matching is being done, wherein returns having mismatch more than 10% or above a threshold are identified and pursued. Significant policy level changes have also been made. GST rate structure is also being deliberated upon so as to address issues like inverted duty structure. Customs. A number of measures have been taken for ease of doing business. India's quantum leap in the trading across border parameter of ease of doing business rankings by the World Bank is a testimony to these efforts. India's rank on this parameter improved from 146 to 80 in 2018 and further to 68 in 2019. Measures have also been taken for providing a level playing field to our domestic manufacturers, particularly the MSME sector, and for securing our borders. It has been observed that imports under free trade agreements are on the rise. Undue claims of FTA benefits have posed threats to domestic industry. Such imports require stringent checks. In this context, suitable provisions are being incorporated in the Customs Act. In the coming months, we shall review rules of origin requirements, particularly for certain sensitive items, so as to ensure that FTAs are aligned to the conscious direction of our policy.
लगभग 2.5 घंटे का भाषण हो गया है वित्त मंत्री का। डायरेक्ट इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस पर उन्होंने बात कह दी है। विपक्ष की तरफ से आपने आवाज सुनी।
We are also strengthening provisions relating to safeguard duties, which are applied when surge in imports causes serious injury to domestic industry. Amended provisions shall enable regulating such surge in imports in a systematic
घरेलू इंडस्ट्री को लेकर अपने कदम का जिक्र करती हुई, निर्यात आयात पर बोलती हुई,
and imports of subsidized goods are also being strengthened for ensuring level playing field for domestic industry. These changes are in line with international best practices. Exemptions from customs duty have been given in the public interest from time to time. However, a number of these have outlived their utility or have become outdated. On review, certain exemptions are being withdrawn. Remaining customs duty exemptions shall be comprehensively reviewed by September 2020 for taking a view on their relevance. I propose to crowdsource suggestions for such reviews. Suggestions would also be invited in respect of the customs laws and procedures for aligning them with the needs of changing times. Sorry. Labor-intensive sectors in MSME are critical for employment generation. Cheap and low-quality imports are impediment to our growth. Special attention has been taken to put measured restraint on import of these items which are being produced by our MSMEs with better quality. Keeping in view the need of the sector, customs duty is being raised on items like footwear and furniture. Our policy of Make in India has started giving dividends. Need more water. Our policy of Make in India has started giving dividends. India is now making world-class goods and exporting such products. We have made considerable progress in medical equipments too. Thank you. We have made considerable progress in medical equipment too. Till a few weeks back, we were dependent on imports for medical equipment. Now, not only we are manufacturing medical equipment, but also exporting them in large quantities. This sector deserves further fillip. Government has also been committed to provide health services to all. Ayushman Bharat has made it possible to achieve the twin objectives of giving impetus to the domestic industry and also to generate resources for health services. I propose to impose a nominal health cess by way of duty of customs on the imports of medical equipment, keeping in view that these goods are now being made significantly in India. I'm finished. No. There are only 2 more pages. To achieve the twin objectives of giving impetus to the domestic industry and also to generate resources for health services, I propose to impose a nominal health cess. I propose to impose a nominal health cess by way of duty of customs on the import of medical equipment. Keeping in view that these goods are now being made significantly in India, the proceeds of this cess shall be used for creating infrastructure So I think I will lay the rest of the pages, sir. Please consider a seat.